I'm about to get in major trouble for today's Flame Trench. This will be an explosive episode, and sorry, Chris Bergen, but this episode, there will be leaks. No, don't worry, not those kind of leaks. I'll explain. Carson.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside speed off. Bring in speed off. It's orange!
R45! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Look at this! Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. Keep that. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Welcome everybody to the Flame Trench. This is our weekly show where we go over some of the hot button topics of things going on in spaceflight, and we get to talk with you about it. And we usually get to make fun of Jack for his terrible choice in bagels and his losing his hat and all of that. But he's not here today, so yeah. Sorry, Jack, you can't come defend yourself for this one. But I'm Sawyer Rosenstein. I will be the host for today's Flame Trench. And of course, I've got some awesome people with me here. What does Jack say? His competent cohort of co-hosts to continue canoodling? No, let's not do that. Joining me today, first off, we will start with... I don't know, who we got, Carson? There he is, EJ, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing
going
pretty
on?
good, you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Hey, sorry about that, everybody. Flame Trench was late because of me. I was fixing a car and lost track of time. My fault, but I'm here. That's why I don't have a book. Just saying. But yeah, Sawyer, I'm doing good. How's everybody doing here? Everybody good?
I think Chris Bergen may have had a heart attack somewhere. You didn't use a book in the open. Probably a heart attack of happiness, but still.
It's all the way over there, man. I've already gone too far away. Sorry. It's already on my bookshelf. Sorry, I'm not going over there.
Oh, if anyone understands about not wanting to stand up to go get something, it's me. Don't worry.
Now, I have a question. If I made that joke, would you be annoyed?
I would laugh my butt off.
Okay, I'm gonna deposit that up here. I'm gonna remember that for later.
Okay, good. Also joining me today is Alex. Alex, how's it going?
Well, I was going to make a joke here. I was going to make a pun saying that, he just doesn't need any books because he's already read. I guess. But anyways, you destroyed my pun there by making one already before me. So congratulations. But yeah, I'm here. Hi. It's been a while since I've been on the Flame Trench, I guess. It's been like, 3 or 4 weeks? But yeah.
It has been a while. I didn't even realize that. Wow. But
Yeah.
We got the gang's all here, and you're able to see the faces of us thanks to Carson today, who is producing, pushing the buttons, pulling the levers. And we may or may not have some surprise appearance later, because there is a certain rocketry competition that is actively going on, which NSF is helping out with the video for parts of it. So we'll see if we can keep checking in on them every now and then. And what you're seeing right now actually is live, well, what will be live data from one of the actual rocket teams out there. Their hybrid rocket will be put up on the pad, will be fueled up, and with the help of NSF, our pack connected to it, you'll get live telemetry and potentially live video from a rocket flying. So we'll be checking in on that throughout the show today. So something to keep an eye out on, and thank you to Das and D out in the field helping to provide that as well, and for IREC for doing that. Speaking of a wreck, Axiom 4. Yeah. So this mission is
There we
cursed.
go.
It's cursed, I'm telling you. So, for those unaware, the Axiom 4 mission, the fourth private mission, don't DJ, don't even.
What? What?
I
What?
see the finger going.
No, it's fine. It's good.
Anyway, so yes, the Axiom 4 mission, which would be the fourth private mission to the International Space Station with Axiom Space, has been postponed indefinitely at this point. So it started off with the rocket itself. During the initial static fire testing that they did prior to launch, they noticed that there was a leak in part of the liquid oxygen system that they had there. And during the press conference beforehand, they said, hey, it's probably fine. We can just purge the line. It'll be okay. But then just before launch, they took a look at it and said, actually, let's probably not take a risk with the people that are on board this flight, and said, yeah, we are going to delay this so that we can take a look at that liquid oxygen issue and then test it appropriately to get it resolved. And that appropriate testing was that they did a wet dress rehearsal. So basically they filled up the rocket, tested out all the propellants on it, and said, all right, you know what? Looks good. So they will continue to work closely with NASA and Axiom Space over there at SpaceX to determine the best launch opportunity for Dragon and the Axiom 4 crew to the International Space Station. So that was originally supposed to be, I believe it was Tuesday morning, then it was pushed to Wednesday morning. So it's been a bit of a delay, but at least the liquid oxygen leak has been tested. There was also the thrust vector control issue, so steering of the engines, that was addressed during the pre-launch conference. And it seems like, all right, then that'll be fine. Then the ISS happened. That is the target, in case you're unaware of this mission. It will be sending 4 people to the space station for a 2-week stay to complete almost 60 different science experiments. It includes Peggy Whitson, the most flown astronaut on the US side, with over 675 days in space, as well as the second ever spaceflight participants / astronauts from India, Poland, and Hungary. There is the crew you see right there, including one of them there sponsored by ESA. Those will also be the first time those 3 countries have ever been to the International Space Station, and the first time that those countries have launched someone into space in about 30 years. So this is a big deal. And in fact, we actually, do we have the breaking news stinger, it seems like? We actually have hazard operations warnings out for when the next launch opportunity opens up. So that opens June 18th at 9:05 UTC, so that's 5 in the morning Eastern time.
5:05.
That's going to be fun. I'll be up and out there. But anyway, I mean, I guess better safe than sorry with the actual rocket side. Now comes the space station side. So, you may have known there's been a leak on the ISS that they have been working on in one of the sort of like transfer areas from one of the oldest modules on the International Space Station, the Zvezda module. So this is called the, I believe it was the PRK, a sort of kind of connector that they can go through. It's had a leak since pretty much pre-COVID at this point. So I believe it was 2019. They've been working on trying to fix it and patch it up. And everything looked good. Hey, the rates have been holding. They sealed it up. Hi, Ryan. Thank you for explaining that. Everything seemed like it would be fine. And then all of a sudden, it turns out that there's actually more pressure leaking from the ISS. And it's still leaking. And it was more of an issue than they thought it was going to be. So all those repairs that they made, there might be a bigger issue here. And that's something that I'm interested in talking about with you guys. But that was the next delay, was because the leak aboard the ISS, and they wanted to take extra time to analyze everything and adjust everything and check everything out. That's still a pretty big deal, the whole ISS leak issue. I mean, this is... I don't even know how to address this. Alex, I mean, your thoughts here on this, yeah.
Yeah, because specifically what changed this week, at least from what NASA said and what Roscosmos said, is that they recently tried to stop the leaks completely. Like they tried to do some work. They've been trying multiple methods for the many past years. Like you said, it's been an ongoing issue since 2019. There's no danger in the sense of like they're not going to be running out of air. Like the leak rate is very, very small, very tiny. So they can contain that. There's even a hatch to the portion that it's leaking, so they can close it off if they wanted to and just, be completely safe in that sense. The problem will be if the hatch were to be leaking, which is what appears maybe happening now. So what's going on is Roscosmos says that the compartment, the portion of this Vesda module where there is this leak, they say, we don't see any signatures anymore of any leaks. Yay! But NASA is like, let us take a look at that because the station's pressure is still going down overall. So it's like if there is supposedly no leaks on that compartment, but the station is still losing pressure. The way that they measure the pressure on that compartment where the leak is, they close off the hatch that I just mentioned, and then they see if there's any leakage, right? Like there's the pressure in that compartment itself dropping. They don't see that drop anymore, and now it's like, but the overall station does lose some of that pressure. And in fact, they've been trying to sort of pump it up again. No pun intended there, but it's true. I mean, they've tried to bump it up. There you can see the graph of the few last weeks or so of the pressure inside of the ISS, trying to, bring it up again to some of the normal. You can see that the differences is like just a few very minor differences there on the pressure. So it's not a huge, sorry, I had to do like this to see it on my monitor. And so the latest thing, which Eric Berger reported today, is that what may be happening is that the hatch that leads to the compartment is also leaking, like it's not properly sealed, and it's leaking at the same rate as the compartment itself leaks out, which means you will not notice any pressure differences in that compartment, but on the overall of the ISS, you would, because at the end of the day, it's air that is escaping. So you're having a very complicated situation where now even closing a hatch may not even stop a leak, right? If you're NASA, you're looking at this situation, you're like, hey, wait. Let's not send anybody else. Let's not complicate things, and let's not, let's look at all of these pressures and things like that, and take a look at all of these fixes that they did lately on that module, because maybe other things are going on here. And so I think that's where we are right now. We've seen already, we show those potential opportunities for launching this mission next week, but it's not a guarantee, right? Like they can change their mind again if something else pops up between now and then. And I don't know, like I have all the thoughts, but I want to hear EJ's thoughts about this, because I think it's a really interesting situation in the bad sense, not in the good one, unfortunately.
It's old. Get rid of it.
Wait, are you joking or being serious here?
It's old.
I mean, yep, we know that the ISS's first module was put up in what, 99?
99, but dude, the Zvezda module is a DOS module that was designed for Mir 2. It wasn't even long. It was launched in 2000, but it was manufactured in like 1984 or something. Dude, like stuff's old, man. And don't get me wrong, like continual human presence and stuff in low Earth orbit, that's amazing, that's awesome, and I don't want to get rid of that, but at what point, dude, it's got a dang hole in it. What are you going to do, flex seal the holes away? I mean, that kind of is what they're doing, but...
But, I mean...
send it, get another one. Get another one. I mean,
are you talking about getting rid of the whole ISS or just the segment, though? Because, yes, that segment also has a docking port on it, which is kind of significant given the 7-person crew at the ISS now.
Well, you can't get rid of one module, not the other, dude. All those modules are conjoined at the hip at this point. The ISS can't function without Zvezda and Zarya. It's not happening. It can't do that. They're conjoined at the hip. Zvezda is your service module for the station. That's not going. You can't have the station without that module.
Even though there's still controls on the U.S. side, you have the proven test now that both Cygnus and Dragon can boost the ISS if needed, because normally it is the Russian side of the station that does all of the altitude boosting for ISS.
That's right. That's right, man.
For now.
I don't like. Here's the thing. I understand not wanting to get rid of the ISS without something else. That's absolutely a thing. We should not get rid of it unless we have something else. But also at the same time, dude, like the ISS is there to conduct science, and you're not going to be able to conduct science. You're not going to be able to have a good bandwidth for scientific research on the ISS if they're sitting there chasing leaks the whole time and maintaining the dang station. I mean, Sawyer, even the U.S. The United States operational segment, those modules were manufactured for Space Station Freedom, dude. They were also manufactured in the 80s.
And in Europe, baby.
Yeah, Thales Alenia, exactly.
Yeah.
Alex, like Europe mentioned,
course.
right? Like these are. Now, don't get me wrong. Should NASA have a replacement ready to go and teed up? Yeah. Well, I mean, our friends at Vast seem to agree with them about this, but we're going to need. Like, at what point does it become like, you're screwing your scientific bandwidth because you're fudging around with a 45-year-old space station? Just get another one.
But you're screwing your science bandwidth by not having a station, too. More so
Like I said,
than just having to chase the leaks. At least there are passive experiments and things that can be done, even if they have to go around chasing leaks. Whereas if you deorbit the station early or just abandon it, you lose all of that.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been prudent to, have a replacement, but, it would be prudent to do that. We should probably do that. But, I don't know, man. Like, sorry, the scientific bandwidth is great, but I mean, at what point does this become a real big problem and your now safety is jeopardized, man? Right? Like you're not going to have any, I say get rid of the station. Say we're not going to have any scientific bandwidth. Well, yeah, if there's a big problem on the space station and we have to abandon it, then we're really not going to have scientific bandwidth. So, like I said, it'd probably be prudent if NASA would fund that commercial low Earth orbit destinations program, get some type of replacement up there, and, maybe start moving towards that or something.
So I want to bring. Oh, go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna bring here to the whole topic and in discussion the fact that why did they care about keeping this place on the module open? Because I have a prop here. It's my calculator. So the module, imagine this is sort of the front of the module. This is the back. This actually, it will be the whole back of the entire back of the ISS. It's right at the end. And so it's sort of like right around here in this very aft portion of the module. There's only one docking port in this section. And then here, it's like a little bit of a pressurized section. There's a hatch in between the docking port and that's the compartment that has the leak, and then the entirety of the module, in theory, it's okay. And then you have like a node section, sort of at the tip of the Zvezda, where you have at the bottom, for example, you have the Nauka module now. At the back in the day was the Pierce module. What I don't understand is why in 2019, when this part of the station of that module was starting to leak, why did they even bother to keep it open? Because what they've been doing is they've just kept it. They've kept docking progress, and well, I think only one Soyuz ever since to that aft docking port on this Vista module, and they've kept going with that and trying to use it. And it's like, maybe you're making things worse. They've tried desperately to just keep using that, and it's like the only use is just the docking interface itself, just to keep a progress on the aft end of this Zvezda, to be able to first refuel the module, because it has its own propulsion systems and everything to reboost the station. But also you can use that progress at the back end of the station to be able to do reboost. And it's like, at least to me, it's been puzzling why they've been trying so much to keep it around. And it's like, just close it off. And now with this latest development that maybe even that hatch inside may not be sealing anymore. It's like maybe all of those attempts to trying to keep it around might have actually been worse. Because now maybe that hatch is no longer sealing. And that's a bigger
Well,
problem.
You're right, it's
And
a door, not a ceiling.
Uh,
Go ahead,
that's the
EJ.
point that I'm trying to make, dude. At what point are we just going to sit here chasing leaks, trying to maintain the space station before does it become a safety risk? That becomes a big problem if the station depressurizes, mid-mission. That would be bad. I don't think that would happen, but also, okay, so say it's a mitigatable leak. You're still going to be stressing out your environmental control and life support systems on the station. The ECLIS on there is going to have to go through a higher duty cycle. And then you're going to need to resupply the station with more oxygen and more consumables over time. Last time I checked, there's a little bit of a lull in sending supplies to the ISS because somebody dropped the Cygnus module. Now in a time where the station is going to need more maintenance and more supplies, what do we do? Like, that's what I mean, man. The stations, some of these modules, like I said, manufactured before I was even born, before you were even born. Like, and don't get me wrong, I think it's a very fair argument to make that, NASA should have a replacement. We should have something. Now, personally, I like Skylab. Skylab back in the day was pretty cool. I put a LOX tank on top of an SLS core stage and put a service module or something on it with an Orion at the top. Boom, instant space station. There you go, one launch. And I know people say, EJ, that's going to cost a lot of money. Yeah, more than what maintaining the space station is going to cost. Yeah, highly doubt that, right? And I know, everybody thinks that SLS is very expensive. Well, guess what? The maintenance bill for the ISS at this point is absurd. Go look at the budget for the program. It's quite high. At what point does it become at what point you're not going to do any science? You're just going to be sitting up there trying to patch leaks all day.
I mean, they're not sitting up there with duct tape all the time. Yeah, I mean, they have to be their own plumbers too, yeah. But
yep, NASA, and by NASA's own admission, man, they're the plumber, they're the electrician, they're the maintenance guy, like they're the janitor. You're everything. You have to maintain the entire space station. And as these systems get older and they wear out, because some of them are 4 decades old at this point, I mean, at what point are you like, yeah, this might be a problem?
the other thing I want to talk about is everyone's talking about, well, what about the leaks? Where are the leaks coming from? Things like that. I think it's worth noting that I know Berger mentioned this in his article, and it's something that's been addressed over time, especially the fact that, you're talking a metallic structure that is a pressure vessel that expands and contracts. I know people are going, but wait a minute, it's not like an airplane where the pressure is continually changing as you go up and down. And with airplane pressure cracks, they do regular inspections on those on the ground. You can't bring the ISS back down to the ground to inspect for cracks. But keep in mind also the temperature swings that the space station deals with. In daylight, you're talking plus 200. In nighttime, you're talking minus 200. And that's 16 times a day that you're dealing with temperature fluctuations for 30 years. Or 20 years, whatever it is, 25, somewhere around there. All of these, I think, are what are playing into these cracks forming. I'm sure one of you guys would have a little more understanding on that, but...
Well, it's like what Alex was saying. I mean, that the aft port on Zvezda is used for refueling the Zvezda module. They can use a Progress, and they can transfer fuel into the Zvezda module and use the Zvezda for boosting. But they can also use Progress for boosting the entire space station. That's because it's on the long axis of the space station at the very back, right? So you could use Progress to do that. But you got to remember, there's no way, like, that Zvezda module was manufactured for the Mir 2 space station in the 80s. It was never designed to push a 400-ton station around. And I'm frankly amazed it's lasted this long. Mir 2 was not supposed to be nearly as big as the ISS. No way. It was not supposed to be big. And I'm like I said, testament to that pressure vessel design, because it's been able to take that compression load from station boosting for the last 25 years. Pretty good.
And also all of the dockings on the aft section, I actually quickly looked it up on my spreadsheet, and in fact, the first expedition crew to the ISS docked to that very same docking port. Soyuz TM-31. Like, that is essentially a port that's being occupied, or at least has seen multiple dockings over and over again. And like, unlike I think it is this way, where the Soyuz docking system needs like a high impact velocity compared to the US, the one with the docking ring and everything, the one that this fella over here uses
The
essentially.
IDA.
And yeah, the IDA. It's also the APAS system back in the shuttle and everything. And those are supposed to be low impact, but the one that Soyuz uses in Progress, in that sense as well, actually needs a bit more of a push whenever it docks, and so it's higher loads that it's getting as well. So that docking port has seen a lot of action for pretty much the last 25 years in orbit.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, man.
Taking a beating.
Dude, at what point, it's like the Last Crusade. He's trying to get in the Indiana Jones. The Last Crusade is trying to get the cup, right? The cup of a carpenter. Right? Indiana, let it go. Let it go.
Oh, jeez.
That's right.
And I mean, Elon Musk has tweeted about that just recently, basically saying, hey, we have big money from these contracts to the ISS. Obviously, it's important to us, but he's been pushing this for a while, and he's pushing once again, deorbit the ISS within the next 2 years. So that would be 2027, as opposed to waiting out until the last crew leaves in 2029, with the actual deorbit being in 2030. Which it's also interesting to remember, too, with all of this, that the company that will be providing the vehicle to lower the ISS to the point where it re-enters its deorbit vehicle is going to be SpaceX as well. So they have the contracts to launch people. They're getting the contracts from companies like Axiom to launch private missions there as well. And they're also the ones contracted to deorbit that. So what do we think? Do you think that SpaceX would actually be able to have that ready to go in just 2 years and deorbit it sooner if Elon gets his way that way?
I don't see why not, dude. As far as I can tell, the USDV is not using any new type of propulsion systems. It just the United States deorbit vehicle just looks like a Dragon with a service module with a lot of Draco motors just attached on the back. I don't think it's bringing anything new to the system. That's just so that because you're not developing anything new, right? And you're basically just making a Dragon back there that's shaped like a service module without the people in it, with a bunch of Dracos on the back instead. That's just kind of using quote unquote off the shelf SpaceX stuff inside of a custom fabric, like a one-off bespoke chassis. The bespoke chassis is going to take some time to get right, but most of the systems on board, not really. It's all stuff that has tons of flight heritage. So yeah, I mean, I think that's possible. Alex, what about you?
Fun fact, they are sort of already building something very related with the US deorbit vehicle. For the next Cargo Dragon mission, they are having what is called a reboost kit, they call it. Using quotes here because it's like, I don't even know what it looks like, but apparently it's going to test some of those technologies, and it's going to be on the trunk, so I'm guessing it's like some propellant and propulsion system independent from that on the capsule. I have no idea. I have not seen anything. It's just based on what they've described verbally, essentially. And they've called it a reboost kit on the trunk, and it's going to be used this summer on that CRS-33 mission. It's actually going to stay for longer than usual. It's going to stay, I think, 3 months this time around compared to the usual 1 month for a Cargo Dragon mission. And the whole purpose, it's precisely, well, both because they want to use it for reboosting the ISS, but also because they want to test some of the technologies for the USD orbit vehicle, and so that they're getting ahead of all of these things, trying to get something up already to the ISS. But I have no idea how it will look like, or what it will look like. Yeah. Anyways,
Not bad.
I've tried to ignore you like completely. I've not made
No,
any
that was-
fuss. I have not said anything about it. I've seen it. I'm like, whatever.
No, dude, no, that was good. That was I actually that kind of backfired in my face because that was a pretty good explanation.
And pretty short.
So
All things
that's-
considered.
that was good. It was perfect, man. So wait, Alex, you said that so the next resupply mission is going to have something that kind of demonstrates the USDV. Do we and no idea what that is though, right? Like, where did we hear that from? Did they tease it or something?
Yeah, on some of the conferences and things like that. Especially, I think it was ahead of Crew 10 and after
Yeah.
Crew 10 and things like that. Like around the Crew 10 mission, they usually have ISS program representatives. In this case, it tends to be Dana Weigel. She's, I think, now
Yep.
the head of the program. And for Axiom 4, there was also a pre-launch press conference, and she talked about that as well on that mission, saying that in the case of Axiom
Cool.
4, they have all the way until July to do all that.
Cool, man. And guys, for what it's worth, I like Alex's explanations. They're chock full of information. I'm just ribbing it a little bit. Alex, your explanations are fantastic. I really enjoyed listening to them. I'm not even being sarcastic. That's actually true. Like, because I give long responses myself too. So it happens.
We like to talk here at NSF. Let's be honest.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
what we.
We're
That's
very
what
chatty.
we get paid for, man. Yeah.
We also don't
We are
have Jack to
very
make fun
chatty.
of today, so. Which, by the way, I have to point out earlier when you were talking about the leak issue, UFO000 said, would Jack say, "Ah, my hatch. Ah, my hatch." And that deserved a lot of pun tokens. I saw that. I'm like, I had to bring that up.
Dear Lord.
But let's get to some questions from the viewers, because there's a lot, and I actually have a couple of them that I want to address here. Andrew Folks saying, when was the last time any of the seals were replaced, or are they still the original seals for the hatches? I mean, I'm sure they've done work on them, but pretty much everything that you see on the ISS right now, for the most part, at least when it comes to, mating the devices and docking and things like that, are pretty much still the originals, right?
As far as I can tell, what was that? What was that noise? Did you guys hear that? Anyway, as far as I can tell, yeah. I mean, I know they've kind of greased the seals on things on certain components. Like there's certain components that are maintained, but I'm not sure if like the actual hatch, like latching system or anything is. I mean, as far as I can tell, it's the original. I don't know. We'd have to go back and look. Alex, what do you think?
I have no idea. I'm gonna be honest about the ceiling
dude.
and everything. It's
Right?
not like they talk about it too often. But yeah, no idea about this one.
And we touched on this briefly, but Saad was asking, so what exactly does this module provide to the ISS that no other parts do? EJ, you were kind of addressing it. You want to hit that one?
It's the service module for the station, guys. It's your propulsion system. So think like Starliner has its service module on the back. And that's where all the thruster blocks are, except for the ones that's needed for like reentry. Like it's the service module, guys. It boosts the station. It helps with collision avoidance. You're not getting very far without that. Think of like if it was the drone ship. If it was one of the autonomous spaceport drone ships that SpaceX has, without it, think about it if it didn't have its own propulsion, like the azimuth thrusters at the four corners of the drone ship, it would just kind of float off into nothing, right? Space station would do the same thing.
Yeah, a slight problem there. That would be a little issue.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that.
Also, Kevin Michael Reed is in chat basically talking about how old he is. So, hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
He's saying that he was born just a couple months before Skylab was deorbited, so he's old.
Wow. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Now, I really want to address this one because this is a question, regardless of the leak or not, I get asked a lot. And I think we have to point this out because we're talking about the whole science on board the ISS and the fact of will they be getting more science done, when they're going around fixing all the leaks, deorbiting and things like that. But they're saying, what do we need a space station for? What do we need to learn that we don't already know? Who wants to take that one?
Dude, that's a good. Alex, do you mind if I take this?
Take it away.
All right. So there's, apart from the scientific research that happens on the ISS, and I'm saying this as somebody that, saying just a second ago, the ISS, we should replace it with something else, right? Personally, people are going to look at me funny again. NASA wants to move over to commercial low Earth orbit destinations. That and farm out to commercial, that's all fine and dandy. I think NASA should just make another Skylab with an SLS. Just make a Skylab. Take an EUS or something, or like a New Glenn second stage, and build that out into dry workshop Skylab style to keep the science going. And then that supplemented with commercial low Earth orbit destinations. Now, you're asking, do we need one? Yeah, of course. Of course I think we need one, dude. The ISS, and it's a good question to ask, because here comes an Alex explanation. I'm going to do one, okay? So give me a second. I'll put the timer up for myself this time.
Oh, I already have one running. Don't worry.
Oh, excellent. All right, perfect. Thank you. Good.
I knew this was going to be a good one.
Okay, so this feeds into a bigger thing about how personally I look at the space program, and I don't know, I'm trying not to interject too much opinion into this, but I think it's good for astronaut training first and foremost. Before I get into detail, good for astronaut training. You don't want an astronaut's first mission to be to the moon, right? I mean, maybe, I don't know, but nobody's ever done that before. Oh, here's your first mission, go to Taurus Littrow, okay, bye, right? Most of the astronauts flew mission that went to the moon. Most of them flew. I mean, some of them did it some of them did it the first time, but most of them flew in the Gemini missions before that and the Mercury missions before that, right? So having a space station for on-orbit astronaut training, that's relatively low cost. Smaller shelf life than the ISS. So something similar to maybe the Gemini manned orbiting laboratory program, or the Soviet Almaz or Salyut. I mean, Almaz minus the 20 millimeter cannon that they put on the front. Yes, that actually happened. Actually, I don't know if it was a 20 millimeter cannon. Whatever, it doesn't matter. They put a gun on a space station, and then they decided that that's probably not a good idea. And then everybody decided that was probably not a good idea. But I'm rambling a little bit. So I think having a station there for training and then supplementary science is a really good thing as NASA moves into beyond, really starts to move into beyond low Earth orbit. It's good for testing long duration stays for astronauts. And then while they're up there, they might as well do some science. But it's good training. I think that's really what we get from the ISS. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's also the scientific research. There's all kinds of university research going on a space station, and I'm not sure if replacing it entirely with commercial is the right way to go. A commercial space station is all fine and dandy, but you guys got to remember, having the ISS there is what gave us SpaceX. Think about it for a second. Having the ISS there is what gave us SpaceX. The Commercial Orbital Transport Systems contract is the contract that saved SpaceX. They would have gone bankrupt without it. And I'm not trying to say this like that NASA should be holding this over SpaceX's head or anything. The point is that you had a destination for them to go to. That destination in the future, say SpaceX, stops doing the Dragon program, right? And they have Starship, and we don't want to send a Starship to the space station. So now you can get somebody else, get Dream Chaser to move people to your proverbial space station in the future, or maybe get Blue to do it. Without these destinations that NASA has in orbit, and as much as I hate Gateway, that kind of applies too, but it would only really apply to Gateway a lot right now if it, actually was up there and not in pieces. But once again, NASA needs a destination. They need a destination so they can help supplement the commercial market, and that puts you as a hedge against commercial companies, not trying to build a manned spacecraft. Because if you're a commercial company right now without a NASA contract and you're trying to build a crew-rated spacecraft that goes into low Earth orbit, you're out of your mind. Everybody would say you're crazy. Why would you do that? The only people that can have a go at it are big companies with deep pockets like SpaceX and Blue. But SpaceX can because they got NASA contracts. Blue, I don't know. I don't know if they're developing a crew vehicle. I can only assume that they are. I mean, the lander is crew rated, but you get what I'm trying to say. Sorry, how long was that?
418.
All right, not bad. Not bad.
There's
Not bad. There's a little bit of rambling in there, but
there's other arguments as well with why having a station at all, either low Earth orbit, whatever you want to put it, right? For the longest time, one of the things that NASA has been working about is essentially all of the stuff that is going to be needed for long duration spaceflight beyond low Earth orbit, right? That was one of the mandates for NASA to do, the kind of research that they needed to, by law, do at the ISS. And one of the problems, at least from what I've been seeing for as long as I have memory of following the ISS program, which is more than 15 years now, is that there's just two big problems, both related, which is when you want to develop something that is so complicated, you probably want to have a bit more iterations, right? And being able to optimize your designs and things like that. We're talking about things like environmental control systems are more.
Yep.
What is that sound?
I genuinely have no idea.
Okay.
Nuclear launch detected.
So, essentially, things like, not having to waste as much consumables to be able to keep your crew alive. Because when you're going to Mars, for example, on a 6-month trip and things like that, either you carry a big spaceship, starship, right? And a very non-optimized life support system, if you will, or you're screwed in a very simple term. Because you have no way of having regular cargo missions. We're talking about, the consumables at the ISS, they're a little bit short in certain things and blah, blah, blah. It's going to be worse when you go to Mars, right? Either, again, you have a really big spaceship and things like that, or you just try to have a very optimized life support system. And that's this is one of the many examples, right, that they are working on the ISS. And one of the things that they've been having difficulty with is, first, a lot of these things you need to test them in many years of cycles of I do multiple years on the ISS with a version of this system, I try it out, and then I optimize it or change the design or whatever. But then secondly, it's also the government, and so which means every single iteration, it's going to be just a slight modification, and so it takes a lot of iteration cycles, right? And the ISS has been only around for 25 years, and when you think about it, that's probably only a handful of iterations on things like that, for example. And so right now, by the standards that NASA wants, they are not even ready for that kind of technology to go to Mars, right? And so that's one of the things why they want to keep low Earth orbit and why they want to keep commercial LEO destinations to be able to continue some of this testing while they are in low Earth orbit and going to the moon. We'll see with the new change of course, right, of going to Mars a lot quicker, how that'll go. But it's gonna be rather interesting.
Yes. By the way, Kevin Michael Reed with a question: how many Haven 1s can you launch for the ISS maintenance budget? It's worth noting that the maintenance budget for the ISS for 2024 was about $1 billion. So it's about a third of the total cost right now to run, operate, and manage everything on the ISS. That gets about $3 billion. So about a third of it goes to just maintenance per the budget allocation. So just worth noting. I can already see EJ shaking his head at that.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's two years of maintenance there. You could just make a dry workshop, right? Or, have a commercial contract out, dry workshop, right? Build a space station, and then send it on SLS. And then, even if your budget projections are SLS are to the tune of $2 billion a launch, right? That still pays for itself. Like, it's still,
Wait,
you get a brand new space station, right? Instead of maintaining that one, you got a brand new one and an SLS to launch it, right? Like, that's
dry workshop
just saying.
of what rocket again?
I don't know.
You're
Figure it
thinking
out.
Starship, aren't
No.
you?
I mean, no, I was thinking take a new Glenn second stage and basically make it into Skylab, because the new Glenn second stage is about the size of Skylab. So,
Yeah.
Put a docking ring on the front of it, put that in an SLS Block 1B, right? Or just put a fairing on top of it. Or just put New Glenn's fairing on top of it. Screw it.
And if you're in a bit of a
New
pickle,
Glenn's fairing.
you can just take the Falcon 9 second stage, add some solar panels, let's say a Dragon propulsion module. Since it's also narrower than the fairing on a Falcon 9, you can launch it on a Falcon 9 itself or a Falcon Heavy if you want to outfit it. And let's say you just launch it like backwards with the docking port, sort of. Yeah, I'm talking about Dragon XL. Like, that's literally Dragon XL. It's just a Falcon 9 LOX tank with Dragon propulsion and solar panels. Like, that's what it is. Just do that. Like, dock a bunch of those, and you get your own station.
Right? That's what I'm saying, man.
They
or we could
produce like
just
what,
shouldn't.
150 of those each year? Just take one apart.
And also,
Just
again,
making me
the
to drive.
chat, by the way, just
up?
constantly saying, what about Starship as a, I guess, Star Lab? Because there's not enough things with Star in front of it.
I'm on board for that, dude. I want Starship Space Hab. That's fine. Or Starship Space Lab. That's sure, man. SpaceX, that'd be great for them to test out long durations, right? Just send a Starship up there with a huge, like, with all the living accoutrement in it, right? All the life support systems, right? Send it up there. You can work on managing boil off for long periods of time, and then send a Dragon XL or a Dragon to it. Maybe resupply it or send people to it with a Dragon. Dude, there's tons of potential there. Starship could just be its own ISS, right? Like,
I mean,
Starlab
and
is
again,
already taken, though.
as I was just being told, yeah.
Ironically, Starlab is gonna be launched on Starship anyways. So there you go. Well,
yeah, baby.
I use probably the wrong tense. May be launched on Starship.
Asterisk, yeah.
Yeah, the company that's making that station recently went public. Yeah, we've seen how that went in the past. So,
I see somebody in chat saying I'm underestimating on what fitting onto a space station costs, not to mention the time. Well, you're running out of time because your space station has a leak in it. So we should probably do that sooner rather than later, right? I mean, really, is it going to take that long? The ISS took a long time to build because it's a modular space station. Dry workshops? No way. Like, look at Vast has been able to throw one of these things together in a couple of years, right? Like, I don't think I am. I don't think I'm underestimating the cost nor time. This is something that we should have started working on 5 years ago. Because if you remember, cast your mind back, if you cast your mind back to like 2017, 2018, the ISS was supposed to stop in 2024. Oh, am I in the crew access?
Yes,
This
you're
is
in the crew
great.
access arm.
don't forget
that's
to
awesome.
sign the wall.
I don't want to. No, I don't want to touch anything. Why did you put me in the crew access arm? I'm confused. What was the
Why
point
not?
of it? All right, I mean, I'm not complaining.
Do you not want to be on the 39A crew access arm?
Okay, that's a good point. You drive a hard bargain.
Sold. Also sold are people who are being kind enough to support us here at NSF.
Wait, hold
Go
on,
ahead,
sorry. Before you do
continue your
that, I just
topic.
No. I just want to point out that I'm not the one that made this thing go off the rails, okay? Carson is. All right, continue.
Oh yeah, we can blame Carson. Good point. It's been a while. It's not Jay today, so we can blame Carson. Kevin, I'm sure you'll approve of that as well. I know he's been in chat. The Space Pope, of course, blessing this trench at the beginning with the usual $50 super chat. Thank you very much, Space Pope. I don't know if Karki has the sound effects for Space Pope, but here we go.
Alrighty then.
I thought you were going to be
Really,
sick for a
Jay?
moment. Bideford gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Thank you so very much for that. Always good to see your name. And again, a thank you to you for the gifts there. Drew Nar, Sawyer opens the show by immediately roasting Jack. Hey, I don't put anything roasted on my bagels, okay? Maybe some toasted seeds, but I don't put anything roasted on my bagels, so that's why. Sorry. David getting L2 for Father's Day. Nice. Hey, that's awesome. Thank you for doing that. You get access to some really cool, there it is, the L2 subscription, which is part of our forums where you get all this cool extra information, some cool documents that are hard to find elsewhere, you don't see anywhere else, photos that people have taken specifically for us that are up there. It's really cool. So thank you so much for that. And it's a great Father's Day gift. It is the gift of knowledge and information, perfect for any Space Geek dad out there. No, Dad, I got something else planned for you, but that would have been a good idea. Sorry. The Real Swordsman with the $10 tip at tips.nasaspaceflight.com. Oh, it's time for a Spaceport America Cup. Fun. I had 2 cents on bagels, but if Jack's not here, guess it has to wait instead. What's everyone's favorite gas/ice giant moon? I'm partial to Io because volcano nerd, but Saturn has cool volcano moons too. I'm a Titan guy. I mean, just the idea of the ice and what could be lying underneath the water there, as just what water could be there. I'm a Titan guy. Sorry. I don't know if EJ or Alex has a preferred moon.
Enceladus,
Ooh.
because ice ring.
Yeah. I see. I went right to Saturn, and you both went to Jupiter, but
Yeah. We went to Jupiter to get more stupid. Wait, no.
no,
No,
EJ
it's got to
goes
be
to
your
Mars
bowl.
to get more cars.
That's right. And Mars's surface is basically rust. So that tracks.
And it also has robots actually roving on it. It's the only planet besides Earth that has robots roving on it that we know of.
Wait, does that mean Mars is entirely inhabited by robots?
Indeed, it does.
Huh.
Alex.
Boy, there are hundreds of moons around ice giants or gas giants.
That is a
I wouldn't
fact.
be able to tell. I mean, maybe Titan, largest moon around Saturn. I think it's cool that. I mean, no pun intended. It's cool, but yeah, I mean, it's it's also one of those where we sent a probe. It's the only thing out there in the outer solar system where we landed something on. So yeah, I think Titan is definitely up there. I guess it is up there.
Hey,
It's
is.
cool and it's up there.
Alex with the obvious answers today.
Don't start acting like him, Alex. Don't start doing that. Don't start doing that.
I don't know. I'm a
on.
very down to earth kind of guy.
I like
¿Por qué,
it.
amigo? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué, amigo?
Tengo mucho sueño, por eso.
Frank, thank you for the $2 super chat. We'll see what Carson does or doesn't have button-wise. Ninja Decimator. There we
Oh, you did it. All
go.
right, cool.
Gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you very much for that. And sorry to put you on the spot there, Carson, with the sound effects. The Space Pope gifting 5 Red Team memberships as well. Thank you. Minor downfall. Why don't they use Ariane 6 to save the ISS? Because by the time they launch it, the ISS will have been in the ocean for 10 years. Sorry. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I don't think that Ariane 6 is necessarily a bad rocket. I think it's a really good rocket if it's 2015.
It's a good rocket that's been delayed, and the off-centeredness of it drives me absolutely nuts. But still,
Yeah. Yeah, right. I mean,
Alex is the resident European here.
yeah. That's very
What's
telling
the thing
answer.
that Americans have of like not talking in
No
court?
comment?
Yeah,
Oh, you have
That
the right
too.
to remain. You're exercising your Fifth Amendment right.
exactly. Well, that.
Problem is, amendment doesn't
Zip.
matter there. But anyway.
Zippity zip.
I mean, okay, so like, what are you going to use on Ariane 6 to save the ISS? If you're going to do that, you're going to need some type of boosting vehicle. So the closest thing that ESA has to that is something that no longer flies, the ATV, the automated
that was
transfer
so good.
vehicle.
Yeah.
It was a great piece of equipment. I mean,
Which
so
docked to the
Looks
aft
good.
end of this Zvezda.
yeah, it did.
Every single time that it went to the ISS, it always docked to that docking port.
Yeah. The Europeans used to resupply the space station, and they had something called the ATV. The ATV had a Soyuz docking port. It had what's called an SSVP on the front, which is a Soyuz-style docking port. So it could dock to Zvezda on the back at the same docking ring that's leaking right now. But
Yeah.
so I mean, they could have used that. But the thing is the last ATV was like, I don't know, sometime in the 2010s. I don't remember.
I think
They stopped
2015.
it. Yeah, something like that. That makes sense. They stopped making resupply vehicles because the production line that was producing ATVs switched over from producing automated transfer vehicles to producing European service modules. That production line is making Orion's service module for the Artemis missions. So ESA stopped resupplying the space station with the ATV. So without some kind of transfer vehicle that has rendezvous and docking capabilities, you're not going to, Ariane 6 doesn't really do anything. But then again, the same argument, it's not a knock against Ariane 6. The same argument could be made for Falcon. Falcon without Dragon is useless for the ISS. Like, useless. Like, you're not doing anything with that. You're not getting a second stage near it, right? Like,
You can use it to launch Cygnus.
that's right. That's right.
It'll launch on basically anything at this point.
Anyway.
Right.
And don't forget, Japan had their vehicle as well. So
Well, Japan is still working on the HTV program. They're working on the next generation HTV.
Hopefully
HTV is
the
their
fall.
resupply vehicle. Yeah, exactly. And the HTV-X is what it's called, is designed to work with on their H3 rocket. And the H3 is almost done. The H3 is actually a pretty cool rocket, really underrated. Delta IV is a HTV derived or H3 or H2 rocket derived system. So it's the closest thing we have to still having Delta IV. But the new H3 is pretty cool. It's three engines in the core stage. Yeah, really weird.
Yeah, hopefully they're going to be flying the 3-engine version this summer, right after the last flight of the H2. And then hopefully the HTVX is going to be the next launch. So I really want to see it in action because it's really cool.
yes.
Yep.
Dima, by the way, saying I have the NSF logo burnt into the bottom of my OLED TV.
Nice.
Sorry about that. Jeff Martin, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Leah, thank you for becoming a Capcom member. Capcom above gets access to the NSF Discord, including the pre and post show for the Flame Trench. So hopefully we will see you in there. And Ari saying, I fear whatever happens with an ISS replacement will be losing out on science. I don't see a replacement with suitable volume and power right now. Yeah, again, like we were talking about, it's a catch-22. Wait, what? Is that
What's that
us?
voice?
Das for Flame Trench. I'm not sure if my comms are piped through yet, but y'all let me know. Tell Carson to pipe me in.
We hear you here in our Discord, and I'm waiting for chat because they're on a slight delay to see the 5x5s.
All right. Well, let us know. Tell Carson that it's time to pipe the IREC update in with the team from RIT out here.
Whatever
thank you.
music. Yeah. 5x5s, Das.
All right. Are we good?
Go for it.
Okay, RMIT. Sorry, I said RIT. I meant to say RMIT. If y'all had heard, I am out here with D supporting the student rocket launch competition, these high-powered rockets out at West Texas, near Midland, Texas. And that's near Midland, Texas is doing a lot of work. But I had embedded with one of the teams that was working to get some live telemetry and video from their rocket. It's all student-developed systems. It's actually called SRAD, Student Research and Developments, everything except for the motor. But the live stream system, the avionics, the GPS tracker when they recover it, basically all the different things, they developed a lot of that themselves. I didn't make the rocket, so maybe a couple of those things aren't quite right. But maybe later I can introduce them and interview them. But here's the current status. They were working an issue with the GPS system. Recover the rocket, if I'm not mistaken. You can shake your head if I'm wrong. Okay, she shook her head yes, which means I'm right. And so they were trying to troubleshoot that to see if they could get that GPS lock. Hasn't happened yet, but they rolled over to their rocket to see if they could hop on a different frequency or something. So if they get that going, they may go for launch today. If they don't get that going, there's another day left in the competition here and plenty of time tonight to troubleshoot and tomorrow to get another slot for launching. So I know y'all have been waiting. I know y'all have seen that telemetry screen on occasion. That is not me on screen right now. I don't have anything to do with that guy. That's not me. They're just showing the Ezra stream itself, the main stream, but that the audio does not sync to that video. And
yeah, it's gonna say
so,
look different.
that's not me. No hat on, but that's the current status. If they go for today, they may just go ahead and send it if they can get that recovery stuff sorted out. Otherwise, they may come back tomorrow. But I appreciate y'all being patient. This is how it goes out here in the middle of the desert. But if they do go for launch, we will pop back over here and see if we can see some of this live. But you never know what you're going to get. I apologize for breaking in like that, y'all.
No apology at all. That was really cool.
All right.
I'm
going to hop back over and hang out with the team, and I'll come back when I have more information.
Sounds good. Thank you, Das, live from the field.
Cool. So,
play the splash screen. Play the transmission. Apparently, launches for now have been scrubbed due to lightning. So even if they solve their issue, there is lightning in the area, just like the big rockets, and it looks like it is an attempt tomorrow for the teams out here at Spaceport. So sorry for the breaking news and jumping right back in, but now you know. Back to you.
We need the stinger. Breaking news.
There's still time for it.
hey, wait a minute, Das. I got a question, buddy.
Go ahead, EJ.
Does anybody out there at IREC have like a transporter erector that they like put on the back of a truck?
Absolutely.
You know, they it's like hydraulically operated, so they can use PTO to like verticate the rocket and then launch it like Scud style almost.
Yep, it's not on a truck, it's a trailer. But part of the things they do with the hybrid systems, they have to develop their own GSE, and that could be anywhere from a fill station that goes on a rail provided by Ezra all the way out to bringing their own launcher. So I'm looking at one right now, like an entire trailer, I think comes out of Canada. Do you remember who that is? I don't remember. There's a Canadian flag on that thing. But anyways, EJ, that absolutely exists out here because when they do the hybrid, they have to develop all their own GSE, and some of them opt to just include that in their launch rails. So it's all one big unit.
Cool. All right.
I'll see if I can get you some footage of that tomorrow. Maybe I can go talk. I think it's the team from Calgary, but we'll see if we can go chat with them. They've got like a refrigerator that clamps around the rocket to control the temperatures, like insulate it, and then it opens up before launch to let it go.
Oh yeah, bud, that sounds really good. They're really good at doing cold things up there, keeping stuff cold. They do that really well up there.
All right. Well, I've got to hop back over with the team here, but I appreciate y'all letting me break into your show.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cool.
And yeah, you could see that weather there, the live view with those clouds causing those scrubs for those rocket launches there.
That doesn't look
really
good.
cool. Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob.
Speaking of ground support equipment, there is a lot less of it now at Space Launch Complex 37 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida, as we saw the destruction, demolition, and planned, making me very sad, of Slick 37's Mobile Service Tower, MST, going away. You see the kabooms there as they do the controlled explosion.
No, they didn't. It's not being demolished, Sawyer. It's just lying down. It's been standing up for a long time. It's just taking a nap.
Yeah,
It's EP.
Very, yeah, so sleepy that it's exploded at the bottom with big giant poofs, and then part of it came down. I was also a little surprised that the lightning towers also came down with it. Or the lightning protection system, plus the main mobile service tower, which I love when we talk about the mobile service tower. It's not that the rocket is mobile, it's that the tower itself is mobile. The rocket stays where it is, and the building would move away from the Delta IV family of rockets that flew out of there.
And it is also not a vertical integration facility because Delta, unlike Atlas, was integrated horizontally, which is why there's a horizontal integration facility at Slick 37, and SpaceX also wants that. They will just not get it straight away.
Yes, and that brings us to the main topic over at Space Launch Complex 37. We have some Starship-y stuff happening there now, some news from that. EJ, you want to take this one?
So, Slick 37 has basically been abandoned in place since April of 2024, when the last Delta IV Heavy went out there on the L-70 mission, so the National Reconnaissance Office. And it's been sitting there basically doing nothing since. But very recently, it looks like SpaceX may have gotten the lease for this launch facility, for this launch complex. They did release a draft environmental impact survey that basically converts Space Launch Complex 37, in the true fashion of rejecting modernity and embracing tradition. It takes Slick 37 and makes it a twin pad launch complex again, which is fantastic. And demolishing the buildings, I'm not sure if that, that might just be correlation, not causation, because when a pad gets abandoned, they usually wait a little while and then they demolish the buildings. That's what happened with Launch Complex 17 back in the day. That was a Delta II launch complex. But you can say, like I said, see, it's just taking a nap. It was just taking a nap. No, they knocked over the fixed service structure with the 3 swing arms, which is a little bit of a bummer. The mobile service tower, which is that building that's on its side, like right there, and then the 2 lightning arresters. SpaceX clearly has some plans for this pad, and it does not involve that equipment right there. So this draft environmental impact survey really calls for a massive scale up of Slick 37. It calls for 76 launches a year from Slick 37, in the future. Now, keep in mind, this is just an environmental impact survey, but there was a ton of goodies in there. If you think about this, like 76 from there, and then SpaceX will they're building another pad at 39A for Starship right now. We could look at 100 launches coming out of the Cape with Starship in the future. Now, I know I could hear the skeptics typing on your computer. Is that happening sometime soon? Probably not. Like, it's not happening next year. It's not happening the year after, but maybe the year after that, maybe. But in order to do this, in order to convert Slick 37 back to a twin pad complex, and I'll tell you more why it was originally a twin pad complex. I'll say that in a second. You're basically got to wipe the slate clean, and that's basically what they're doing. Now, I say Slick 37 is a twin pad complex. That's because if you don't know, for the last 23 years, till 2002 was the first launch. Space Launch Complex 37 has pretty much been a single pad complex. It's just Slick 37B. But what a lot of people don't know is that Slick 37 was built for the Apollo program, and it was originally a twin pad complex. It was a twin pad complex because between 2 pads at Space Launch Complex 37 and then another pad at Complex 34, you could launch 3 Saturn 1Bs in succession and do an Earth orbit rendezvous. They built it for the Apollo program as a backup in case the Saturn V didn't work. Because what would you need to use Saturn 1Bs to launch Apollo hardware to get to the moon if the Saturn V doesn't work. You need one to launch the lander, one to launch the crew, and one to launch a stage. 3 pads, one of them with crew access. Slick 37 was built right next to Launch Complex 34 as a hedge against the Saturn V not working to be able to move people to the moon back in the day, which we ultimately did. The Saturn V ended up working. They ended up solving the pogo problems. I mean, not totally, but you get the idea. And the U.S. ended up going to the moon 6 times, right? Out of 7 attempts, but we don't talk about that. So when I say like it's reverting back to a dual pad launch complex, I'm saying, reject modernity, embrace tradition. Yeah, baby. There's a shot of Missile Row. Now, Slick 37's at the very, very north part of this picture. In the foreground, there is Slick 36. Slick 36 was also a twin pad launch complex for launching Atlas Centaur back in the day. And then you have 3 Atlas pads, which are 11, 12, 13, and 14. And then I always get the Titan pads wrong. There's 4 more Titan pads there. But it's like...
should be 16, 17, 18, and 20?
No, it's not 17. 17 is on the south side of Cape Canaveral Space Force Station.
Oh,
There's
true.
a Delta pad.
Yeah.
So it's like 16, 18, 19, and 20. It skips a number.
Yeah, I thought it was 19. Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
Dude, it always gets me, Alex. Every time,
Exactly.
dude. I always forget. The cool part about this is if you took real quick. The cool part about this picture, this is a Missile Row picture from back in the 60s. Cool part about that picture is that if you took this picture today, all these pads, almost all of them would be occupied with commercial space paraphernalia.
Yeah, because you've got Blue Origin there in the foreground. Yep. Then you go a little bit further up. You've got LC1 and LC2. You've got Relativity at LC16. You've got Stoke at 14, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
At one point, also Firefly wanted Slick 20. Now that's probably not in the cards anymore, but maybe another folks will do that. Back to LC1 and LC2, in the future we may see up to 2 different companies at that place, Launch Complex 13, essentially. And then you've got up the coast 34, 37 and everything, 37 for Starship. 34, has anybody taken that one?
So a lot of the information that I got about leases is from the Space Force's 2022 future plans for Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. I believe 2022 is not the year it came out. It's the name of the document. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one. But I in that document it said people are there's a pending lease for 34. Somebody wants it, which is I don't know how I feel about that.
It's
but
definitely good for at least a mid-sized kind of rocket.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, 34 was built for heavy lift. You could put easily. You put a heavy lift rocket. The Saturn 1B is a heavy lift rocket. But either way, big plans to Slick 37. And I'm so pumped that it's moving to a 2-pad launch complex. Because guys, I'll be honest, I never liked how Delta's pad was just haphazardly placed on the south side of the complex. I hated it. I hated it so much. It looked so weird and out of place.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't stand it. And this isn't a slight against Delta. I love Delta, but I love Delta launching from Slick 6. Okay, at Vandenberg.
Hey,
that hurts.
I can't stand it. It's just haphazardly placed next to the old Apollo pad. They just crudely pasted Delta Force pad over an Apollo pad. What the heck?
I have a question.
What's up?
Will they call it Slick 37-1 and Slick 37-2?
I am calling it Slick 37A and B, and not even Elon could change my mind. No.
I will be so mad because you're changing what was already named 37B. So this is the perfect opportunity. We're talking 2 towers here. Yeah, go ahead and make your jokes about the 2 towers. We're having pad A and pad B. It makes perfect sense to have LC37A and B. We've had B already. Now we have LC37A and B. That's what we're calling them, whatever the heck they say on Twitter or X. We have A and B already in Starbase. You're not going to change my mind on that.
That's the problem, that it's supposedly no longer A and B, and it's like, why did they used for years on documentation Pad A and Pad B. and suddenly I feel betrayed, so to speak. Like we're now being told that, oh no, it's pad 1 and pad 2. Like not even more than 3 weeks ago. Dan Hewitt from SpaceX, he went like, it's always been pad 2, and I'm like, no.
Oh, you should
On
have
the
seen Alex in the
documents
back
it said
panel.
pad A and pad B. Yeah, I actually made the count of like seeing in which of the documents it said pad 1 or pad 2. Nowhere. Like the whole reason we called it pad A and pad B, it's because it was officially written by SpaceX on documentation. Like we didn't came up with that out of the blue. And the funny thing is, the other day there was a Rocket Lab launch of an Electron, and they talked about their launch complex at New Zealand, and they're like, this is launch complex 1. It has pad A and pad B, and I was like, SpaceX could never. It makes sense, right? You have your first launch complex, and it just so happens that it has 2 pads. So you call one 1A, and the other is 1B. Wow.
Not 1-1 and 1-2, huh?
I reject Dan's reality and substitute my own. I'm just calling it this pad and that pad.
But anyway,
Yep.
while we were talking about it, it's people don't realize, like you were saying, just relegating it to the south side of the pad. People don't realize how freaking massive 37B actually is.
It's a
The
big one.
aerial doesn't even do a great job of showing how spread out it is. You've got, again, the south side, you have the Delta pad. There's an entire lake in front of it with alligators that have their home inside that lake. You've got the entire northern part of it, which has huge open land, a couple of roads, that's really it. The backside has a road that curves around it. It's expansive, there's plenty of grass. It's beautiful. It's like a nature area back there. It's huge. I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of the largest pads out there. Probably larger. I know someone's going to correct me. Feels like it's larger than 39A even, which is a big pad. There is so much that they can do there, and there is so much that SpaceX is planning to do there. It is nice to see that they finally want to actually use it for something. The whole thing, to have the 2 towers, whether one of them ends up being just a catch tower or not. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
That's sorry, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Slick 37B, the Delta 4 pad is cool, but it's just it's like launching a Falcon 9 from 39A. Oh. It's just not it's not suited. It's not suited for the needs. I'm sorry. My caveman
Falcon
brain's
9
like,
tickles the flame trench at 39A. It's like, haha.
Yeah.
hee.
Exactly.
It's built for a Saturn V class rocket. It's actually more than that because it was built originally for the Nova rocket. So it's like even larger than Saturn V class rocket, right? So whenever Falcon 9 launches from there, the flame tree is
Yeah,
like,
it still takes a 10-day turnaround. But yeah, you're going to have...
They've gotten down to 5. It's okay.
That you're going to have all the fueling items there, and if I'm understanding correctly, the plan is also to use that pad for testing too, not just getting launches out, right?
Which one, Sawyer?
37.
Dude, I was reading through it, and I'm not sure where they're going to do the testing here, but I was reading some stuff in there for, the provisions for putting catch towers in. And I know somewhere out there, Zach Golden was just like, just made a funny noise. Zach, I heard it. Anyway, so it says that it looks like they have provisions for 2 launch towers and 2 catching towers. The 2 catching towers would basically be in between the 2 launch towers here, from what I understand. So, I mean, you're asked testing. I would rule a catching tower as a piece of testing equipment, would you not? Like, I don't know, does that count?
Yeah, they mentioned they mentioned on the document something about test pads potentially where the catch towers are going to be. Like, it feels to me that the idea is that where the catch towers are going to be placed, they're going to be putting their test stands underneath. So instead of having a launch mount and a flame trench, you've got just a test pad. I'm mostly sure that's going to be just for ships, though, because the booster you can test it on the launch mount, and they've shown that it's a rather quick sort of thing, and the test campaign can be very, very agile. They've demonstrated that already at Pad A at Starbase, which frankly, anyways, it's a very old design, right? And still they've sort of demonstrated that. So I think there's a good chance that they dedicate whatever test stand that they put next to the catch tower for the ship, so that then they have 2 places to test the booster, 2 places to test the ships, and it's 76 launches and landings, I guess, per stage per year, which means for each of the launch pads or even the catch towers and test stands or whatever, it's not a lot per year. I mean, 'cause it will be 76, so that's what, 38 per pad. That's
Something like that, yeah.
yeah, that's not a lot.
Well, first off,
Yeah.
he said the thing.
I said the flame
But-
charge.
Yes.
Hey!
You did it again. But yeah, secondly, 76, great number because that's the year that we got rid of the crazy Brits and did our own thing. But, I mean, yeah, when you point it out
America.
that way, given how many launches they want to have per year, that's not really that many, 76. I mean, how many launches are we expecting this year from Pad 40?
I think they've already done, because I said double mean 38 per one of the pads at Sleek 37. Let me take a look. Almost 34 already from Sleek 40 so
Right.
far. So that will be like, twice that. From going back to last year, from Sleek 40, they did 62 in a year from one single launch pad. We're talking here one launch complex with 2 pads, and each pad will be 38. That's not a lot when you think back to what's the cadence just for Falcon alone. But here we're talking about, 76 launches, 76 landings per stage, plus their testing prior to launch. And then you have to add on top of this LC-39A, which they've requested 44 launches per year with its own 88 landings, 44 per stage, plus whatever many tests they have. And then you have to add on top of that potential launch scrubs, which means, I did the math for this, it's on my latest article, and it will mean approximately more than 600 Starship related events per year just from Florida. Just with
Yes,
Starship.
please. Yes, please. I will take one Starship event from the Cape, please.
Are you ready to not sleep?
I already don't, man.
I was gonna
We're
say,
good.
yeah.
A bit more. More no sleep.
Alex, I got a weird question. Sorry if you don't mind. Like, this
Go
is
for
just me asking a question. Do you think these environmental assessments are tentative for the plans that they have now? Meaning that, you have 2 launch towers at Slick 37, right? And then you have 2 catching towers, and proverbially some kind of test stand under there. Do you think they would eventually build the catching towers into full-on launch pads, make it a 4-pad complex, right? And then, maybe in an EIS down the road, they, say, oh, we're calling for 300 launches from Slick 37 at this point.
That would be rather interesting. I guess it's just a matter of seeing what happens in the future. They're going to need a lot of launch pads, right?
Right? Yeah,
to
that's
be
what I'm
able to
thinking, man.
support not just Artemis, because at one point you get so many launch pads that you obviously cannot forget that they want to go to Mars, right? And there's this slide. I'm seeing Carson sort of flipping through the article, and one of the things sort of at the end, I left one of the slides of the recent presentation, and it talks about having 10 launches per day of Starship, and it's like,
Yes.
that will be amazing, but you need a lot of launch pads, right? Because we're talking about launches that are, carrying stuff to Mars and all that. Like, you're talking things that you cannot do the usual, what they say about, rapidly turning around and things like that. You can maybe do that with the tankers, but if you're carrying a ship with 200 metric tons of cargo on board, you need some time to load that on the ship, right? And so every single time that you try to turn around your pad, you need that extra time perhaps to load that cargo. But more launch pads, more better, and that's the way to go. Just have more places to launch from.
That's also
More
a
runways.
lot of propellant that you'll need as well for all of those launches.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
sure.
I guess it's part of the benefit of having more pads than less, but they are going to need maintenance. A, getting blasted with 33 Raptors will cause damage. B, being directly next to the Atlantic Ocean with winds that tend to blow in from the east that cause a lot of corrosion are also going to be problems for when they're not getting blasted by engines. Maintaining a pad at the Cape is ridiculously hard because you have the ground support infrastructure that's your own. You have the ground support infrastructure that is part of either the Space Force Station or NASA in terms of things like bringing in nitrogen, bringing in gases, all of the underground lines, things like that. You're also digging on a swamp. You're also digging, well, not so much a swamp, but basically not the hardest soil underneath. You're talking about a national wildlife reserve as well, next to the ocean, in the Florida heat, where there are hurricanes. These pads are going to take a heck of a beating. So I guess it's better to have more than few, but it's going to be a lot to maintain that, to then be able to keep up that launch cadence too. I guess with 37, you'll have the advantage of a pad being custom built, kind of like 40, to withstand these quick turnarounds. But what about something like 39A, I guess?
Can we just
I know you
call
both
that?
are ignoring the question because of how bad that comment was, but
So what do you mean? What about 39A? I mean, 37 is closer to the water, if I'm remembering correctly.
right. But in terms of, you have a pad that's not really built yet for that rapid turnaround. 39A, I feel, is more, I don't want to say archaic, but less optimized for the kind of turnaround pace that SpaceX is talking about with using 37 for.
Did I miss something? What do you mean? How so is the 39A pad not like ready for that? I'm confused.
I'm just, how do I put this?
Is it a you're giving me a hypothetical?
I'm just trying to think into the future in terms of maintenance of pads and everything like that. I mean, what they do I get they're building from scratch the Starship side of things, but I feel like you're starting fresh from 37, where you can build whatever you want, however you want, redo all of the underground lines and things ahead of time, versus 39A, where everything's kind of set in stone. They kind of copied and pasted the Falcon infrastructure onto the shuttle/Apollo infrastructure. I don't know. Does that make any sense to anyone?
You're talking about basically they can clean sheet the launch complex. You're talking about like Falcon 9 on 39A.
Exactly. Yes.
I thought, guys, I thought Sawyer was talking about the Starship pad at 39A. I'm like, wait, that's clean sheet. Is that not? But yeah, no, sorry, I think you're absolutely right. SpaceX is basically gonna blackboard the entire. They're gonna erase it like a blackboard, all of Slick 37, and they are going to rebuild everything. It's gonna be a clean sheet Starship pad, just like Slick 6 was a clean sheet shuttle pad, and it was really nice.
Yeah,
sorry,
very clean, totally not reusing infrastructure for Delta 4 Heavy there or anything.
We're gonna see the same at Slick 6. Well, actually, we won't. And I'm not talking only about the fog.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, by the same I mean that they're gonna be tearing down also the mobile service tower and everything, the fixed umbilical tower, all of that will be gone as well, for Falcon 9.
That sucks.
And Falcon Heavy.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Let me thank some people here before I give myself a headache trying to think of what I'm thinking about.
Slick 6, my beloved.
Oh, it's what it could have been, but it's the West Coast, so it's fine.
Yep.
Anyway, Drunar, LC-37 North and 37 South. Ouch, I hate it.
Oof. No, please.
Pele Joe, why not this 1 and 2 at Starbase, 3 at 39, and 4 and 5 at 37? I also hate it. I appreciate the
telling you.
support very much from our members and from our viewers, but
But he hates you.
why do they hurt? Why do you want to hurt my soul so badly?
Oh man.
The,
Anyway,
the
continue.
numbers
Sorry,
are going.
it's funny.
It's like the meme where it's all the numbers flying around me right now, just trying to think of the name of the pad. It's like, oh my god, just AB. We've had how many pads have we had at the Kennedy Space Center, Cape Canaveral Space Force Station that are -1 and -2? None. How many have we
Zip.
had that have been A and B? Multiple. The precedent is set, and I don't want to hear, oh, well, the precedent can change and they can update and change it. Come on. It just sounds wrong.
I still say we should just call it this pad, and that pad. Yeah, this one. No, that one. That'd be great.
You can call
First
it this,
one, then
so
the
you
other.
can call it that. You can call it this, so you can call it that. Anyway,
Yeah. See, now you get it.
Shiloh saying, looking at 39A, could they replace the shuttle/Falcon service structure, place another Starship tower up there, and place a third tower further west? EJ, I already hear you groaning/making noise.
No, that was the dream, man. I thought, actually, fellas, like, that's what I wanted. That's what I thought SpaceX was going to do that. I thought because Slick 37 has a 3-bay horizontal integration facility, that SpaceX would move Falcon 9 operations to Slick 37. Take old Slick 37A and make it a Falcon 9 crew-rated pad, and then take Slick 37B, where Delta is, get rid of all the Delta stuff and make that a Falcon Heavy and uncrewed Falcon 9 pad. So, like, make another copy of Slick 40. And then you have 3 HIFs, so you can... Yeah, that's right. Slick 37 has 3 horizontal integration bays. Like, that's gigantic. So you could easily run a twin pad launch complex out of there, and it's a gigantic pad. It'd be great for doing that. The reason why I thought they were going to do that is because I thought they were going to do exactly what that question says. Like, just make 39A, convert 39A into total Starship operations, and use the VAB to build them. That was my original theory. That was wrong. That theory was way wrong. But also, that's a pretty good idea.
There's the original idea of launching what was called at the time the Interplanetary Transport System from 39A right there on the same flame trench. It was built for that. Like, that was built for that kind of rocket.
Yeah, that's the type of flame trench that withstood the forces of the Saturn V and the Saturn 1B. It's like, that's what it's made for. It's made for big, powerful engines. Oh, God, it hurts to see that. That would be so nice.
Back when the booster was going to be 127 meganewtons of thrust. That was bonkers.
Is it bad if I think SpaceX will still do this eventually?
Oh yeah,
no, I hope they do.
Yeah, I think they will. I think, there's only so many. You can only stretch the Starship design so much before you're gonna run into huge lateral oscillations. Though, if the thing is too long, I mean, any Kerbal player that's made a really tall, skinny rocket knows what I'm talking about. There's only so much you can do by stretching the core. Now, don't get me wrong, stretching a rocket and making it taller, right, is one of the simplest upgrades that you can do to a system. SpaceX did it with Falcon 9. They stretched it. Now, don't get me wrong, this is all a factor of difficulty that is really difficult for us mere mortals, but in terms of, like, changing designs on your rocket, stretching it is one of the easiest things that you can do. But there's a theoretical limit to it, right? So eventually, if SpaceX wants to keep the scale up, they're eventually going to have to move to a bigger core size. And what's the next core size up, dude? You're not going to make a 10-meter. Next core size is what the original ITS was supposed to be. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think we're seeing that anytime soon. But I still think they'd do something like that, dude. Look at that thing.
Oh,
look at that.
3 grid fins
on the launch mount.
3 grid. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Wait, Alex, where are they? Where are the grid fins? Is it trisector or is it like a T, like what we see now?
120, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
I forgot about the crane.
Yeah, right. I like the 120-degree grid fins. The T grid fins make me twitch. I'm just like, yeah, that's good. Okay. Hey, Das.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Hi.
There we go. They are
Hi.
driving along there.
You're driving along. All of a sudden, the kid's in the back seat. I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy. Wait, what? Sorry.
We don't hear you, by the way, if that's what you're asking. But,
Hey, spawn the Starlink Mini.
we're working on it.
I think Das just said something about the Alamo or something. I mean, I don't know. They're in Texas, right? Like, I don't know. Can you guys hear them?
I said to fix it. Press the button to
there
turn
we
on
go.
the audio. Oh, we're good now. Oh, nice. Okay. All right, we're good. We're good.
Put your seatbelt
Nice.
on.
Hey, this is our show now. Just cut all the other mics. They don't get to talk anymore. Yep.
Hey.
I the flame trench because we are at the rocket rails all by ourselves. Wait, we turned. Oh, we lost bit rate because we turned.
We're coming back.
We have to turn back around. Hang on. We have to face a certain direction to get signal. Oh, we're good. You got audio. You probably have super choppy video, but we're in a vehicle driving across the desert. All right, welcome to our flame trench. We actually have 20 flame trenches. Oh my gosh. Out here.
Has the dust storm calmed down?
No, the dust storm is still kind of going. There's just less dust.
Well, are they even really flame trenches?
They are.
Reflectors?
Oh, they're not really trenches, I guess. Hang on. Look.
Das, can you hear us?
We do. We're going to the flame trench. The best flame trench. Hang on. Look, it's a rocket rail. So, we have a Positioner 2 over here, 10,000 kilobits, nice. Positioner 2 is doing a slow motion. Oh, we should have pointed it into the wind when we were done with it. Note for tomorrow.
Yes.
It's like
facing that way.
it accidentally went offline. So Positioner 2 doing super close-up slow motion and live feeds because the rails are like 10 feet away, 15 feet away. We're smack dab in the middle of all the solid rails. But here is where that motor that cadoed off that rail landed on the ground and started burning next to our Ethernet cable.
Which it did melt the Ethernet, but not enough that we actually lost the connection. It's just a little bit bubbly.
I gotta stay facing this way or we don't have enough signal to stream.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, that's my fault. But anyways, D, tell us about what's going on.
Yeah, so a whole bunch of launches in rapid succession and people driving over the fiber cable, which is not great. But so we basically saw them shooting out flames from both ends, but that was not the only bit of excitement because we also previously had our shot way over that way. And kind of, we aren't actually sure exactly where it went.
I can't get in the wind.
I'll just say somehow the box here was on the inside. The tripod was, a leg was disconnected and it was on its side. And the cable connecting this to our other equipment was about 100 feet that way and severed in multiple pieces.
It was like dragged all the way over there. We have the cable's in a pile over there still.
Yeah, let's go look at the cable.
We can show them the cable.
Don't turn.
Okay, how am I supposed to walk if I don't turn? All right, so Ethernet cable carrying signal from danger close Positioner 2. Ain't nothing I can do about the wind noise. We're like in a windstorm right now. But this is yesterday's cable. Show us the cable, D.
Well, here's one part of the middle of it.
That's not supposed to do that.
No, it's not. It was on a reel also at sections. That doesn't exist anymore.
Is the end in there somewhere?
There is an end.
I don't know if we'll ever find it.
Well, there's more broken
That's not
pieces.
great. Not ideal.
Here's the good end.
I know.
I don't
The
think
other
we'll
end
ever-
is in the floorboard of the car. I threw it in the floorboard of the car. I was gonna like ship it to a member or something.
Stay tuned for more details.
But actually, we're over here to troubleshoot some problems. We do have this kilometer fiber reel that goes from here all the way over to the launch live stream control. And trucks have been driving over it, apparently. That's not great. We hope that that's not a problem, but
Flow is dead.
the EcoFlow is dead, which is why the Starlink would be dead, which is why we wouldn't have connectivity. But
Because it just lose both the fiber converter and the Starlink.
there's the problem. Okay, so we did have a little solar panel over here trying to feed this EcoFlow whatever generator. We need a bigger one, but that costs money. And we apparently ran out of power on that today, which took down our Starlink and the media converter for the fiber, which is why we lost connectivity.
By complete luck, however, we lost that power after the last rocket went from this pad. There was one more launch from over that way that's a long distance away, so we really didn't miss that much, thankfully, but we do need to be ready for tomorrow. But that should be a much shorter day.
Yeah, in fact, we have the other EcoFlow in the car, and we can plug it in and make sure everything comes back up.
Yeah.
And then we can secure the cameras, bag them. Is that storm still coming?
There might still be a storm coming. It seems like we were only on the edge of
I think
the
we'd
storm.
missed us, yeah.
I do want to actually check on the fiber because people have just been driving through
Chat,
here
should we
all
go
day.
check out the fiber cable? You know they're going to say yes.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to check the member chat. Maybe, if I have
Also,
connectivity.
is This Week in Spaceflight premiering at some point? I don't even know what time it is.
Yeah, 7:31.
It is 5:52.
That's
7:31 Eastern, so that's
6:52 Eastern,
6:31. So we have 40 minutes of show to do.
Okay,
All
cool.
right, y'all are done. Sorry.
Yeah. Sawyer and EJ and Alex, we can hear y'all, but we can't really talk to you.
That's fine. You can talk to us live through the stream.
But yeah, I was gonna say, if you hear us, we can hear you, so you can talk to us.
That's great. It's just very, very delayed. You're probably hearing us like, but with long pauses.
It's okay.
It doesn't like me turning this way.
That's fair.
That's okay. Oh my gosh, our poor fiber cable. We should bury it, D.
We should.
We
And
should
you
come
know
back
what?
with a shovel.
There are cables that are buried over there. They probably have a shovel.
We should go get the shovel and bury this fiber cable.
Yeah.
Because we're in the middle of an active oil field as well.
Yes.
Like in all directions. It's probably too small for y'all to see, but every half mile or something like that, there are oil wells all around us. And at night you see all the flare stacks all around us as well. And so oil field traffic still comes and goes through here. We had a truck come through when there were rockets on the rails earlier, and we're like, Sir, there are rockets.
There
sir,
are signs to not come
sir.
here right now.
Yeah.
Like,
So we probably should go get the shovel and bury this cable if that's possible.
digging a trench stream now?
It's digging a trench. It's the flame trench, but it's the fiber
It's
trench.
the fiber trench. Yes.
Oh my god.
Change the stream title to the fiber trench.
Carson, can you do that? I'm gonna go check for a shovel.
Okay, well, I'm coming with you.
Let's do it.
You know something? I'm not gonna walk backwards through the scrub, but if I fall over, I fall over.
Thou said the S
What do you
word,
think,
not
Dave?
us.
Oh yeah.
My first year being here, and it is so cool. And also so unpredictable. Earlier today, there was definitely a rocket that was supposed to launch, and then they did the count that a rocket from a different rail launched, which was I was confused, and I'm sure the operators were confused. And then later they launched that rocket again when the team was like, "Hey, you didn't launch our rocket?"
Yeah. And they're like, we show it launched, and they're like, our rocket is still on the rail. Paperwork.
But there's a team recovering. Let's go look.
Oh, we should go talk to that
let's go
team.
talk to 'em.
Wait, hold up. We're gonna go look at this team recovering their rocket. D, go ask them first. Just say, hey, can we talk to you about your rocket real quick? We do want to be polite. Like, we don't want to just, like, hijack people and tell them that we're going to talk. Like, just walk up to them with a live camera and be like, "Hey, you, be on the stream." Can we just look at the rocket?
Do that
quick?
here on the flame trench. You hijacked the flame trench.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't ask
Are
us.
we good?
Yeah, Jack's not even here, and you hijacked
Give us a thumbs up if you want to be on the stream. All right. What team are y'all? What team number are you?
178.
178. You have to yell at the camera because of the wind.
178.
You have a rocket.
Yeah.
Yes. How'd it go?
Good.
It went amazing?
Yes.
What were you shooting for?
10K.
10K?
Yeah.
And we got around 9,900.
9,900?
Yes.
Not too shabby.
Not bad.
How's our bit rate? So tell us, this is a payload.
Yeah.
It's very payloady.
Yeah, this was our live stream payload.
Wait, what?
Yeah, live streamed.
A live stream payload?
Yeah. Video and telemetry.
All right. You talk. I gotta wear a
Your
camera.
dust light up.
I want to see everything.
He said live
Share.
stream.
How does this live stream payload work?
It runs through an RFD 900 and our very expensive TiSync radios. Thank you, TiSync.
That's all.
That's all.
There's bound to be more.
There's bound to be more.
It's sideways looking.
It's sideways looking. Okay.
Okay.
Communicates from an onboard radio, sending it to another TiSync radio at the ground station.
Okay.
We have that set up plugged into Ezra's launch stream.
Right.
So if you guys watch the stream, you can see onboard footage of our launch, and you can also see the apogee, the pressure, all of that telemetry changing in real time on the overlay.
Nice. That's very fortuitous. We
Cool.
found you out here.
Yes, there's a dish that auto tracks the rocket.
Like the umbrella?
Yes.
Ah.
We have to show. I mean, I have photos. I think.
I can't. Like what? I'm gonna show them on my phone.
At some point, stay tuned. Find a way to make sure y'all can see that because it is this incredible. I mean, talk about it. That like umbrella folding custom dish.
Maybe not that one.
Yours is yours.
We're losing the feed, guys. Just a heads up.
Oh man, I wanted to see the dish.
I know. I was interested in it.
And you'll
We
find
have
out
lost
on
the
next
feed
week's Flame Trip.
temporarily.
No.
The dish.
Oh, that was pretty cool.
That was really cool. Yeah.
We have
that team-
LOS.
Leader dish on a custom student-built tracker. It's got 2 axes of rotation, and it can follow the rocket really fast because it's leaving the pad at like Mach 0.8. Basically, what that dish does is it follows the rocket, and that allows it to transmit the video and the telemetry live, as well as GPS coordinates that allow us to locate the rocket after it lands.
Which you did.
We
That's
did.
Successfully.
super cool, actually.
Nice. Anything else? Some people are very quiet.
All I can say is that it took a while to track this rocket.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was mostly about having clearance because rockets are going off and on. And basically it was a two-stage and solid-state motors going off. And yeah.
Good to go.
The rocket's name
And the
is
dust
Sauron.
storm.
And the dust storm.
We had to wait about like 5-10 minutes.
Y'all had the Lord of the Rings theme.
Yes.
Is that the
Sauron.
Sauron. We got the eye. We got the
Who is Euron? Sauron. I don't get. That is awesome. So you recover the rocket.
Yep.
You have to take it in. Do they judge it now on recovery, or is
I
it
believe
tomorrow?
so. I think they inspect it, and that's where they gather the data on like if there's any damage, how the payload worked, their apogee, all that.
Yep.
They're about to go back and do that now.
Okay, time out. I have to turn this way. Is the Eye of Sauron related to the live stream camera?
Well, you know, Sauron's always watching, and so are we.
That is awesome. Folks, it's Team 17. Move your head. 178. From which university?
University of Nebraska, Lincoln.
University of Nebraska, Lincoln. We will let you get back to your recovery.
Thank you.
We have to give them patches. D, can you hold the camera? You have patches? We have patches for you. Sorry, we hijacked you. See?
I have enough. Yes.
Live stream payloads, NASA spaceflight patches.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I have work for NSF business cards in my pocket. Is anybody bored and want to come like do live stream stuff with us?
We'll take
Maybe.
I'll do it.
We've got a guy who
Hold
might
up.
be interested. He was the one running our live stream. He's crazy smart.
Look at this. NSF, contact us. There you go.
Nice.
Is that a receipt for something? You don't need that. Thank you. Oh, it's a $25 off coupon for more business cards. Nice. All right, y'all. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
You were live on our weekly Flame Trench show. We were out here looking at our equipment. We saw you with your rocket, so we thought we'd come say hi.
Yeah.
All right. Congratulations on your launch. Congratulations on your live stream, and we will see you later.
Thank you.
Nice.
Oh. Well, that was,
And they turned.
very nice timing, I guess.
And back to you, Sawyer, in the studio.
Yeah. Again, their feed continually going in and out. They are in the middle of nowhere, essentially, but providing awesome views for that. So our flame trench may have gone off the rails as they showed us the rails at their flame trench over there, but that is still really cool. Shout out to the team there, and shout out to all of the teams that are out shooting these. So hopefully we'll get one
Are we
final
back?
check-in from them before we head on to Starship. Yeah, I think we got you back.
We should be back. Oh, can you see us?
Chat, are we back?
Sawyer, they're back. And
Yep.
they have the combination.
Okay.
I think we're back.
Yeah, I show that we're back to 10K. I just turned the wrong way.
Alright.
I am wearing the antennas, and my body is blocks RF because I'm a big old meat sack filled with water or whatever. And when I turn the wrong way, I get between the antennas and the cell towers. We used to have things with like antennas that stuck off the top, but they're too unwieldy, too hard to carry around.
We should get
so out here,
temporary ones that
like go above your head, yeah. Walk backwards. Tell me if I'm going to run into a tent. Chat, tell me if I'm going to run into a tent.
And tell us like 5 seconds before so we can call it out. 'Cause I'm definitely not just walking forward.
Chat, don't tell. Don't say nothing.
We need a hat from the NSF store with like antennas sticking out.
All right, you can go a little bit that way.
Okay.
That way. A little bit that way. Ready? Stop.
And as he says,
And it
as they said,
stopped.
stop, the feed
And it
stopped.
stopped.
Did you just guide me into the tent? I trusted you.
As soon as you stop,
I trusted you. I didn't.
stop right at the right side.
Is there a shovel?
I don't know.
Dee's looking for a shovel.
He's just gonna steal the shovel from that tent?
If anybody didn't. Fiber trench, go. Y'all, in all seriousness, this sort of vibe is how a lot of what NSF does started. I used to do streaming on Twitch, and I started doing this IRL type streaming for educational stuff. I wasn't like IRL eating food or whatever, right? But so much of the tech that we use is stuff that I developed long ago on Twitch, and running around like this was such a vibe back then. Like, we'd go recover remote cameras from the Atari's pad, we'd go on museum field trips, like we did so much stuff like this. And NSF has gotten so, like, everywhere we have Starbase Live, and we have folks at the Cape full time and everything like that. And so I really don't get an opportunity to do this sort of stuff anymore. So the IREX student launch competition is my yearly DOS field trip to come out here and get back to our streaming roots and test new technology like the positioners, get a lot of stuff ready, and just practice the skills that we use every day covering the other launches. But we appreciate y'all letting us break into the flame trench like this.
I don't think they had a choice.
They don't have a choice.
Kind of like
The other trick would be in charge of the live stream, yeah. I'm not in charge of the live stream. Kevin and Jay do such a good job with that. Carson let us do this today. All right.
There we go.
Yeah, by the way, the other day I was seeing a picture after the demolition of 37, and someone had a shot of me, Chris G, and Das all talking after Das was doing one of his IRL live streams out at the launch pad, so that was a cool throwback.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever dug a hole on Twitch, Sawyer. I don't think we ever did that.
We definitely didn't dig a hole when we were on the Intrepid, that's for sure.
No, I don't think we did that. This is a live stream first, right here.
Oh no, I was waiting until we hit a rock. EJ, Sawyer, Alex.
the shovel's just bending.
Y'all chat a little bit. while we work on this. And if there's a
Sounds
question
good.
or
We still have
something,
Starship
I
to
can, I
discuss,
can hear
so
you. I
we'll-
can answer on a massive delay.
You can
Cool, we got
use
Starship to
that.
discuss. We'll do that in the meantime, and we'll check back in with you. How about that?
You can use that for Slick 37.
Okay, I'll keep the live feed. Y'all talk about Starship. Go
That was
ahead.
good.
All right. Das and D out in the field. We'll continue to check in with them as we keep going here. But of course, we do need to mention some road closures already coming up. Starship, could Flight 10 be coming up ridiculously soon? Alex.
Yeah, so it's been a while since the last flight of Starship. If you remember, that happened on May 27th. We've seen already the static fire of the booster for Flight 10 of Starship. That is the next launch of Starship. That was with Booster 16. And that's already done. It's back at the McBay and everything. It's getting ready for flight and everything. However, what about the ship? The second stage is very important, and it's the thing that did not go so well on the last flight and the previous one. Although it's been a bit of a progression, right? It's gotten better every little bit. But yeah, we can see there on the City of Starbase website. Well, now there we go. You can see road updates. That's a road delay. That's what they called that's the name that they use for when they have a transportation on the highway, and they call it road delay because essentially, technically, it's not closing the road. It's just that there's gonna be a lot of traffic and you might get delayed because there's like a thing in between and traffic going in front of it and before it, and so yeah, you're gonna have that delay on your traffic essentially. So that's why they call it like that. It's essentially set for tonight, starting at midnight all the way to 8 a.m. Central. What it is, unfortunately, we have no idea, because unlike when they used to post this on the Cameron County website, this time around there's no documentation sort of saying, oh, it's going from, I don't know, from the factory to the pad and things like that. But let's be honest, what else is there to roll? Not a lot of things, right? So we are all hoping that it is going to be Ship 36. For that, though, we will have to see the static fire stand, the crab stand, moving from Sanchez out to the Mega Bay 2. Also have to remove Ship 36 from its work stand and be placed on the crab stand. There you can see sort of we have to my left here. So you have the one with a white cap, that's booster 17. Then you've got booster 12, and then ship 20. Right where the aft flap of ship 20 is located, that's where the static fire stand is. So we'll keep a really close eye to that. If it moves, that's going to be a clue that it's going to be ship 36. Other than that, I cannot think of anything else. The only other thing might be some kind of transportation that we're just not aware of right now, because I don't know. I have no idea what else might be moving, if I'm gonna be honest. But that's where we are right now, which means if it rolls tonight, then we may have a static fire test this weekend, or multiple static fires, because with Ship 35 we had a single engine one and then a 6-engine static fire that then they had to repeat again. Hopefully this time around it's just the 2 planned ones, single engine and the 6-engine static fire test. And once we've done with that, it's just a matter of when launch, essentially. So for Flight 8, no, the other way around. For Flight 9, I don't know if you guys remember, but they seemingly tried to keep the launch date. Like, we kept seeing NOTAMs and Note Mars and all of that stuff being released. Every single time they delayed the static fire at Massey's by like a day, the launch will be delayed by a day. And usually that static fire test was sort of the time between the static fire test when it was supposed to happen at Massey's and kept delaying because of scraps and whatever, and the time of the launch For Flight 9, it seemingly was around 9 to 10 days. So, if pull up a calendar, if you have one close to you, I just pulled up the one from Microsoft on my computer. If Ship 36 static fires this weekend, or at the very least by the end of the weekend, maybe like Monday or something like that, it's done with all of the static fires and whatnot, then we're talking about a launch perhaps around the 25th, 26th, maybe. I'm more on the side that it probably will slide a little bit into July, like maybe July 3rd before the holiday and everything. But I don't know, you guys, what you think about, when launch.
I mean, that is crazy fast, I just have to say. To think about 2 weeks from now, talking about a month-ish from flight, and keep in mind, they did still require a mishap investigation for part of Flight 9, mainly for the ship part, the booster, not an issue there. They will have to complete that too. I know they just closed out, finally, the Flight 8 mishap investigation, but you need to either close out Flight 9 or more than likely get the exception that they're going to do everything they can to not make public safety an issue and have that be fine. So there is that FAA statement, by the way, on it. But I think it depends on how the static fire goes as well. But given all the regulatory stuff and the holiday coming up with July 4th, our amazing day where we get to pour all the tea in the water again because neener. I think we could see it probably end of the first week of July. Dump it, fine.
Sorry, we throw tea in the harbor, okay?
No, I thought, well, we throw shade too, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Anyway, EJ, what are your thoughts? I think probably July 9th or 10th is more likely, given the work that still has to be done. I mean, the static fire hopefully soon, but waiting for all of that fixes, given it's only been a month since that flight.
I think they're going to try to get it in before the first week of July, so the fourth week of June, so like a week and a half, 2 weeks from now. If that's probably not going to happen, and like if they can't get it before like the 27th, 28th, something like that, Sawyer, I'm kind of with you. I think they'll go on the other side of the 4th of July and stuff. Yeah, I'm thinking, and also I take the first week of July off. That is like my detox from everything.
So
please, for the love of God, do not launch then.
Wait, so you wouldn't be there for it again? Oh no, I'm not going to make that joke.
Well, hey, I wasn't there, and the last one worked, man. So it made it to Seco. It made it to Seco. Adrian, in chat, I'll tell that to Chris B to his face. Tea belongs in bodies of water. He's not going to disagree.
Yeah, not in your body. Although with ice and more sugar than anyone should ever ingest is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a southern thing. I don't do that.
Yeah, I lived in the South for 4 years. I grew to love it until my body said that's too much sugar, probably. But anyway.
You might... maybe some people are wondering, what are we looking at here? Because that's Massey's, right? And there's... Because I see people pointing out in chat, well, it could be B18.1, which is the test... okay, well, now it's this way. So that way, it's B18.1, essentially an aft test article for Block 3 boosters, right? And it just recently got the blue cap to its own... It's technically called the structural test stand, but people call it the can crusher because they just put this sort of cap and pull it down and crush the test tanks and whatnot. The thing is, for that thing to roll out, what time is it? It's 6:15 p.m. Central. It will have to be rolling out essentially in 6 hours out of there. It needs to get removed from all of the hardware. There's like pushers and things like that for the header tank inside. There's the cap as well. There's a bunch of things attached to that. Then they will need to remove it, put it on a transport stand, and then roll it. Because people are saying, well, maybe the road delay is for that. And it's like, I don't know if in 6 hours they can do all that. Maybe they can, but they will have to hurry up, essentially. Oh, that's why I couldn't think of anything other than 36, because it was like that could take a while, and it is still there in the jail.
Yeah, as long as the transport doesn't run over any fiber cables like it's been happening out in the middle of Texas. Speaking of, hey, checking in with D, Dust, and the whole team.
All right. Well, we are. Hey, Flame Trench. This is the Ezra Earth Moving Team out here at the International Rocket Engineering Competition. We've launched a whole bunch of rockets so far this week. How many total? Over 100?
124 launches since Wednesday morning.
124. That's a new record for us. We're going to be out here tomorrow also with our own stream. You should come check it out. And you can see the final teams making it off the rail.
19 more rockets tomorrow. Fingers crossed we'll get through all night.
Ooh, the feed's hanging on by a thread.
Well,
It's struggling. It's riding the struggle
I
bus.
think we were going at about 8:30, but we had some weather.
There we go.
Recently had that. But 124 rockets off the rail by day 3 is a massive record. I mean, it's a record by any day, but to get them off by day 3 has been amazing.
And we had a whole zoo of rockets. We had commercial off the shelf, 30,000 foot, 10,000 foot, 45,000 foot, 75,000 foot. We had hybrids making some crazy sounds.
And we dig trenches.
And we dig trenches.
And they dig trenches.
Because
Of
what
course,
is rocket launching but infrastructure building?
they showed up when the trench was, pretty good. You're more trench fillers than trench diggers, honestly. We do have to give them the show back. Anything else? Watch tomorrow?
Watch tomorrow. Come check it out. Experimental Sounding Rocket Association.
You may see some familiar faces. Just
I hear they're plotting a takeover, but the coup has not yet been announced.
A lot of that's been going around lately.
There have been a lot of coups lately.
All right, too soon. Okay, folks at the Flame Trench, back to you. Thank you for letting us break in.
Thank you, guys. I do want to just read up some support for them before we head back to Starship. Shiloh saying, Dawson D, somewhere on the edge of the flame trench when the Starlink began to take hold. You saw the Starlink wasn't going. That was just off of the pack on its chest. The Space Pope saying, bless this fiber trench. So the fiber trench has also been blessed in addition to the flame trench. So thank you for that. Roseanne Devasto saying, thanks for sticking with Dawson D, and also the Ankara for sticking for Dawson D. I think they meant thanks originally, but also the power pack, I guess. And then Drew Nar saying, okay, NSF umbrella hat, but the umbrella is upside down with a radio antenna in the middle, exclamation point merch. So we have ideas for them. And you'll have to, I guess, watch their stream tomorrow to see what ends up happening with that. But it sounds like tonight we can hopefully see the ship roll out, though, at least. So, I mean, I'm interested to see chat's thoughts as well on when we think that we'll actually get to see it. So, but yeah, also really cool there with the fiber trench. And don't forget, immediately following this, we have more acronyms, by the way. It will be TWIS, This Week in Spaceflight. So you can also make sure to check that out coming up just a little bit. So stick around for that. We will even auto redirect you to it. So you get the actual serious space news of everything going on this week, not our shenanigans. And more in-depth information, as you can see there, about the ISS leak. There's some other really good topics, so make sure you stick around, check that out. Alicia is on this week with some spectacular earrings, as always. So just wanted to make sure we point that out.
Very brilliant earrings. That's my leak for the day, I guess. So I've already seen the episode, so...
Yeah, we're already shining a light on that, I know.
But speaking of acronyms, Sawyer, we're showing one thing on NXF, because we have NSF, and then there's NXF, which is Next Space Flight. Carson?
Yeah, so what do we still have to get done, by the way, then, for this flight?
Yeah, there you can see that there's like these little, very neat checklist, so to speak. This dates back from like, when Michael was doing all this stuff and he was trying to, get like a list of the necessary things that we will need to see for a Starship vehicle to fly. You can also access this by typing wenhop.com on your browser, and it directs directly to this. Wenhop without the H, so it will be like WEN and then hop.com. But yeah, that gets you directly to this portion of the website. Very neat. As you can see, there's a lot of things still yet to see, but hopefully in a few days we'll take that off, that fourth line there for the Ship 36 static fire.
We will still have that to go. So then, I mean, it's still a process to go after that. They've gotten pretty quick at it seems like, but then having to roll everything back, then getting the booster out, lifting it, getting the ship out, lifting that. Do you think we would see any additional testing given what we saw in terms of the leak on Flight 9? Maybe any potential additional testing ahead of to try and prevent the spinning out of control, shall we say, from the last flight?
Dude, those flight conditions are really hard to replicate on the ground. Yeah, it's tough to replicate. And even then, you're not going to get like a super long duration burn off the test stand at Massey's with Starship, right? So, I mean, Sawyer, we might see them put like the ship through the ringer or something. Maybe we'd see a couple of 60-second duration burns in like quick succession. I'm not sure what you'd test with that, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really think they can test for anything on the ground. So I don't think you'd see additional stuff. I think they're just gonna fly it, and if it flies, it flies. If it dies, it dies.
That's actually, besides rhyming, that's actually a good point. I mean, at this point, we know that version 2 is having its kind of issues. The boosters, they're going to be moving on to the next generation of that. We already know there's going to be upgrades coming to the boosters. So or the ships, excuse me. So at what point are they flying it just for the sake of getting rid of hardware versus actually making, I don't want to say significant, meaningful upgrades, but more significant upgrades that would change future designs?
I think people are going to think I'm weird for saying this, but I think they're just getting rid of hardware. This is an SN11 scenario. They are getting the flight data is good. The tile team has been waiting a while for some, data on the, entry, descent, and landing. But I honestly think this is just getting rid of it and making room for the version 3. I really do. You gotta. I was talking about this on my Twitch stream the other day, Sawyer. You got to think about this from a macro perspective. I mean, did you see that EIS? Did you see how many launches they have planned? Like, and even then, my theory I still think that the 76 launches from Slick 37 is tentative. I think they'll eventually go more than that, probably double that, right? They'll really, like, SpaceX is planning a massive scale operation here. These flights are going to be like little blips on the radar in the future. We will look fondly at these flights like 7, 8, and 9, like, oh yeah, they're just, we'll treat them like how we treat Falcon 1, flight 2, 3, and 4, like, or 1, 2, and 3. It's like, oh yeah, that was a long time ago. Don't worry about it. It's like it's going to be a blip on the radar comparatively. At what time am I at? Oh wait, no, that's a calculator.
Oh yeah, no, this is calculated the total number. Hang on, there we go. So it will be 76. Geez, the reflections. 76 launches from Slick 37, 44 from LC-39A, and 25 from Starbase. That's 145 launches per year. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Now the green screen also acting weird. But
well, that's what I'm saying, dude. These flights, like, whatever. They're just getting rid of hardware because the real scale and the real high frequency flights and the real testing is going to really come around. Not real, like, it's all testing, it's all good flight data. But like this is nothing. Like, people are going to fret over these flights are failing. Oh, they're going to send it. What if it leaks again? So what if it leaks again? So what? Send one. Guess what? Send another one. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Get mad. What's your dang lemons? What am I supposed to do with these?
I love lemons, but anyway.
You can make tea lemon, but anyways, or lemon tea, whatever it is. Anywho, the one thing that I will say though, you mentioned the TPS. As far as we know, there's lots of changes to Block 3 boosters, but the ships, in terms of the dimensions, the height, the width, all of that stuff, it's gonna be pretty much the same as the Block 2 ships. It's just that, for example, The QD, the quick disconnect port is going to be a little bit different. There's going to be a bunch of things added for propellant transfer and stuff like that. Like there's going to be some changes internally, but the outer mold, it might look very similar-ish, which means things like the TPS, if they test it now on block 2, and especially things like the catching pins, for example, going through a re-entry and not having to find out on the first flight of a block 3 ship, right? If it's going to be about the same size and it's going to have probably the same sort of, thermal protection system outline, then these flights are going to be very important. And anything that they sort of try to go through and sort of try to get the data from block 2, that can help on block 3. Even the propulsion system is like, sure, block 3 will be using Raptor 3, but I mean, whatever they can learn from whatever the heck happens with those Raptor 2s, I think it's every little bit is worthy. That's
I mean, yeah, there's a couple of teams that have not actually gotten to test anything out. And that is, the team that deals with releasing and testing the Starlinks, because you got a stuck door. The team that wants to test the in-orbit operations, the engine, because they had to abort that because it was still spinning out of control. And of course, the biggest one, I feel like the most important, is the heat shield team, because that's the thing that we've been talking about the most. Oh, they adjusted the location of the flaps, so we'll see how those deal with re-entry. Oh, they're taking tiles away from parts. They're doing actively cooled tiles for parts. We haven't gotten to see any of them yet. It has not made it to a point where they have been directly dealing with entry interface and directly getting the testing data that they needed, where it was a controlled re-entry, seeing how the heat shield works, because they've not yet gotten Starship into a position to be able to do that. So I get what you're saying. At this point,
and that's all going to be on block 3.
Exactly. So it's kind of that attitude of, let's actually be able to test that, but at the same time, if you're just getting rid of hardware, it's like, are we really going to be able to get to that testing point? I know at this point it's kind of just like fly it and let's see what happens, and hopefully we get to a point where we can test it. But I don't know. I mean, that's been the SpaceX attitude for years. I don't know. This one's eaten me on this one. I can't decide which way I am. It's good that they're just flying it to move on, but also they need to get these test objectives done, so might as well use it while they have the older hardware to at least try and get to that data. I don't know.
Flight sim.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, go ahead, EJ.
Definitely no problem, Alex. Yeah, it's definitely a balance, dude. Like, it's a balance, right? Like, flight data is flight data, man. Any more data they can get on, like, booster catching or launches and hot staging, whatever, that's all useful. Like, yeah, it stinks you're not getting to the tile stuff, but, if I had to choose between, like, downtime with the launch vehicle, right, and like, let's put some downtime, let's make sure this really works, let's dial it in. Why bother dialing in an outdated system? That makes no sense. You want to mitigate it instead. So yeah, it does suck not getting the tile data, but any flight data that they can get is going to make Starship better in the future. I mean, we don't know for sure if this is happening with Starship, dudes, but we know it's happening with Falcon. Like, every Falcon flight is entered into a database that SpaceX has of every single Falcon flight. And on top of that is every single simulation of a Falcon flight that they've done on top of it. And it compares all of it. They compare all of it to look for anomalous data. So weird stuff. That's part of the reason why Falcon 9 got to be so seemingly reliable. Like, it's very rare that we hear anything weird happening with it, except for that LOX leak. But once again, every flight gets, all the telemetry gets put into a server somewhere and it gets compared against other stuff. And I guarantee you they're doing that with Starship. So right now, what if it was me, you would want to fly it more. Yeah, you don't get the tile data. That does stink. But more data you can put into that kind of, that query, I guess, like you can, yeah, exactly. That's
more data, more better.
More better. That's right. That's more flight data that you can check against your flight. That's more flight data that you can check against your simulations to make sure that your sim is running accurately.
Yeah.
Right? Like that. The flight data is king, man. You can't. It's irreplaceable data. Like, it stinks that it doesn't make it to reentry, and I'm sure people in the Caribbean, have probably have something to say about tiles showing up on their beaches and stuff. I'm pretty sure, but the flight data is really useful.
Agreed. Well,
even if it doesn't get us the tiles. Sorry, I didn't finish my train of thought.
Well, that's all right. Don't worry. Our train has been way off the rails at this point. Elizabeth Hopner, thank you for the $50 super chat. No message, but we still very much appreciate the support. We also, of course, appreciate the support of all of our members. In particular, we give a special extra thank you to our launch directors and flight engineers. Those are the highest levels of support. And of course, you do get your name at the end of the Flame Trench for longer than 2 seconds. There it is. So a huge thank you. I'm amazed at how many names are on there, but we still appreciate every single one of you, including everyone as well that watches, that likes, that shares, that sticks around for twists coming up next and help support Alicia and that amazing show. And of course, thanking the people that joined me here today. EJ, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you very much for having me, Sawyer. I appreciate it. It's a privilege. It's a privilege being in this crew access arm on the Flame Trench. I prefer to be in the Flame Trench down there. So like maybe next time, put me in there. No, thank you for having me on here. It's a privilege being on here. Thank you very, very, very much for watching, everybody. If you want to see more of my ugly mug, I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/EJ_SA. You can find me over there during the week. We talk a lot about space. Anyway, back to you. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, if you were in the Flame Trench, though, at that point, you'd be cut off. So that would just be an empty chair. But anyway, Alex, thank you for joining as well.
It's been a pleasure as always. But one last thing that I was going to say for that whole conversation was that, it's probably a blessing that they found out the whole harmonics thing on Flight 7, because maybe Block 3 will also have the same propulsion systems, even though it's Raptor 3, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
We will see, yeah. There's a lot
twist.
still to learn. Exactly. We'll talk a little.
What?
We will, of course, spray and twist there. Carson, thank you very much for producing. Thank you to Dawson D from joining earlier from the field for the Fiber Trench. I am Sawyer Rosenstein. I have been your host for the Flame Trench. Now stick around for Twist premiering immediately after this outro.
And here we go.
We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roger, planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Echo down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
145! Oh my god!
Decollage. Look at this! Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
That was
Nice.
nice.
It's a little. I wasn't expecting that whole Dawson D segment, but it was a pleasant surprise. Next thing that we need to get them is a wind filter for the mics, but other than that,
For real, dude.
that was really cool.
It
I was gonna
has a
say,
wind
dude.
filter on it.
Oh,
Wow,
man.
that's with a wind filter? Holy cow, that was windy then.
Yeah, that was super cool, D. But the wind was killing us. But that was super cool.
We didn't have labs or anything. It was very impromptu, and it was also just after a very bad dust storm.
Well, Telstar, you can always watch the replay of it. Don't worry. We gotcha. You missed The Whole World is Going to Hell in a Handbasket.
Okay.
That was a very like tame-ish flame trench until the Texas team decided to join, and then it just like went everywhere.
Yeah, it was 2 on the rails, so that worked.
Yeah.
Didn't even make a Friday the 13th joke.
Dang, man.
Based on how many rockets have gone off the rails today, I don't fancy that success rate.
That good, huh?
Look, we've somehow one of these rockets managed to take a leg off of the heavy-duty military equipment tripods. How? How are they that powerful? It's incredible, and the students building and working on these, it's so impressive.
Wow. That's amazing. And yeah, the wrong rocket launching. Hey, it happens. That's so cool, though. How many? There's still so many launches that have gone off, and there's still over a dozen more tomorrow.
I think, yeah, dude. I think they said they got a boatload more tomorrow.
I think it's 104 have happened so far.
The robot's back.
What was that? 104 have happened so far?
Same.
Oh, yeah. It's been a wild week. That and Axiom has absolutely killed any schedule that I've had the whole week.
I'm glad I stayed up all night working on stream decks for Axiom, and then, well, they delayed.
Yeah, I mean, I was up there, I think it was Tuesday, figuring the attempt would go Wednesday, and then it was just like, actually, about that.
5:15 a.m.
We're gonna work on the locks leak, and then
Oh, this is like prime time then. 5 a.m.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like that's been most of the crew launches are usually between the hours of 2 and 6 a.m. It was nice to actually have one that was going to be a morning launch, but nope. And we have KA2 coming up Monday.
Yeah, but that one is a much better time of the
But
day.
worse at the same time. It is much better
Why?
visually, but that's right in the heart of storms for Florida, the random pop-up ones at 2:30 p.m.
I think they said 70% favorable weather though, so maybe.
But we were also 3 days out.
Can somebody make Alex's face into an emote over there, please? Somebody do that, please.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. I cut off my call while posting that face.
Oh
that was good, man. That's pretty funny.
Alex is so tired his computer fell asleep for him.
That's Alex Sleepy, if you want to make an emoji of that, because
Alex EP, yeah.
Hey, get on it.
Alex tired. It's a good pair too, Alex, bruh.
Bruh.
The way to see our most used emotes, because I think the bro might be the most used.
Yeah, I think that's the most used
One of my favorites.
emoji. Yeah.
Carson, can you do me a huge favor?
No?
Can you please DM me a screenshot of Alex's input and only Alex's input?
All right, fellas, I'm gonna go back over to Twitch land.
Enjoy the
Yeah,
purple
thanks for. Sorry to scare you over there at 4:44, but
No, it's no problem. I lost track of time. That was totally my fault.
just that's why Carson and I both popped over, making sure.
I saw somebody in YouTube chat say it, and I looked at the chat, and then that's right when you guys resubbed, and I was like, "Oh no!" Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, we watched the moment you realized it. It's like, what time is it? 4:44. Oh, I lost track of time.
I was just trying to get that thing welded up, and I couldn't weld the stupid thing in the right spot. Like, dude, I'm still learning welding, right? And the thing is, dude, you got to be at an angle, like you got to be at a right angle to feed it correctly, and then, with welding, you got to move the nozzle back and forth, right? And if you can't get like a good view of it, and you can't get it at the correct angle, it won't weld right. Like, think about it like if you're drawing a picture, like on a piece of paper, you'd have the pen or pencil at an angle, right? You're not holding like the pencil straight to the paper, right? You'd have it at an angle, and then you'd be like kind of above and to the side, because your hand's in the way. You're not looking at it straight down, right? You got to look at it from the side, right? I couldn't do that. So because the part that I was trying to weld is right here, and there's another car part like right next to it, right? So think about like trying to write, like with your head on the desk, trying to write something. You can't see the paper, and you can't see what the pencil's doing. You just kind of see it from the side. It was making me, I was getting very annoyed. I was getting
you had
pissed
the
off.
camera, I guess, to help, but yeah, still.
Yeah, the camera doesn't. It gives you some perspective, but it's hard to tell depth perception with it. It doesn't do exactly what the mask does. So
That's why we have two eyes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Minor detail, yeah.
Oh, Predominant made Alex face. All right, perfect. Thank you. I have that emoji.
What?
Alex, can I make that a Twitch emoji in my chat?
Sure, I mean, go ahead.
All right, cool. I just want to make sure you're cool with that. I have one for Jack as well. It's pretty good.
Oh my god.
But yeah, dude, I was getting locked in. I'm like, I'll just slobber weld all over this thing as long as the plate that I'm fixing is fine. It should be good. But God, those welds. You know what? I should not say that on stream. Never mind. They don't look very good. Okay. Let's just leave it at that.
You can always sand it down, right?
Is it MK1 level of bad welding?
Yes. No, MK1 is better. Mark 1 was better than this. But then again,
it was able to be in one piece, right?
Yeah, but see, then again, I am using gas welders. I'm using a gas welder, right? And I don't have to worry about the wind blowing it away. So my welds, albeit bad, are not contaminated from the inside out like theirs were. So, I mean, in ways, yes. People are asking me in Twiz chat about the car. All right. I'm going to head back over to Twitch land, guys. I'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah, I think tonight's a short one tonight.
Yep.
Bye, AJ.
See you guys. I got to end the call again. Ready?
I'm trying to think what face I should go with then. What should I do?
Frightened Sawyer.
Ooh, frightened.
Just
I don't know. I couldn't see your face because you're just a big thumbs up. This is my startled face then.
All right, I'm in back
let's
over there.
see.
See you guys.
Let's try this.
There it is.
That's perfect. That is perfect.
Okay, good.
All right, I'm heading over there. See you guys.
Bye.
Peace.
Okay. Bye, Membies.
Bye, everyone.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RS-68 chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, Atlantic.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside SPD off. Bring in SPD off. It's orange!
145! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Look at that. Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
The methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? We don't need any more of these.
Okay, we should be back. Oh boy. Man, I wish it wasn't so windy out at Iraq, dude. That was really cool, but the wind noise was killing me. So the wind noise was killing me. But that was pretty sick. I miss going to that stuff, dude. The problem is that Iraq and previously Spaceport America Cup are right around my wedding anniversary, so I can't leave. Oh, I was thinking about that stupid weld the entire freaking stream. It sucks. Zarek, I think you're thinking of buying a car. May I ask your opinion? Domestics for you would probably be your best bet, dude. Something simple and easy to work on. Was this advertised on NSF somewhere? I usually watch the streams. No, that was a surprise to us. Oh, Iraq, I have no idea. Yeah, there you go, Fluffy, right? Are we welding before racing? Probably not. Here's the car, right? Oh, GR86. Yeah, if you can afford that, sure. 17,000 Ks on it. Yeah, dude, that thing's sick. That's a cool car, man. If you can afford it, Xerax, do it. It's a Toyota. I mean, it's got a Subaru engine in it. Yeah, GR86, can't lose. Easy to work on, except for the motor. The motor's a little bit difficult. It's a horizontally opposed engine, but whatever, no problem. And GR86, guys, here, I'll show you. Yeah, dude. That is a fine automobile. You will have fun with that thing. That's a fun car to drive, man. Do you like head gaskets? Yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful, Xerax. If you get a car like this, the Subaru engine, they like to come apart. They like to come apart. Just be careful. Keep up on the oil changes, etc., etc. You'd be fine. I mean, I don't know what the prices are for GR86s, dudes. I have no idea. Is 30 Everest, you think 32 is too high? I don't know. Your neighbor's a licensed mechanic. He does the wrenching. Yeah, you'll be fine. That's madness. I have no idea what the pricing for that car would be. Especially overseas, I have no clue. I don't even know what they're going for in the United States, let alone Germany. You know what I mean? It's the premium, though. So, Xerax, you want a car like that? That's not a problem. Blue Book. Yeah. All right, dudes. Well, it's 8 o'clock now. We have the Eric Johnson Racing Administration. We got the 2.4 hours at Le Mans. We are going to do a very long, for us, enduro race on Le Mans tonight. Anybody's welcome to join. It is going to be... It's going to be a rot. So that is going to happen in about an hour. So oh, here it comes. Oh, it's going to be a ride. I think we're starting at 9 because this one's going to be a long race. Come spin at 200 miles an hour with us. It's fun. We should probably practice, dude. I should probably get the racing rig out. We should jump right into that. The racing won't start until 9:30 with qualifying and whatnot. Get your caffeine. Yep. Yeah, let's do it. Let's change it up.